Good evening. Welcome to the council meeting of November the 24th. If we could all rise for our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mrs. Rossmarin, please read the roll call.
Mr. Arnold.
Here.
Mrs. Vanderbosch.
Here.
Ms. Gentry.
Here.
Mr. Koss.
Here.
Mr. Shamir.
Here.
Mr. Smith.
Here.
Mr. Zuber.
Here.
Mayor Spetzel.
Here.
Law Director Ebert.
Here.
Finance Director Crossie.
Here.
Public Works Director Liskovic.
Here.
Thank you. Everyone's here. Approval of minutes from November the 10th. You've had a chance to read them. Any additions, subtractions? General consent, then they're going to be approved as printed and published. Correspondence, Ms. Rossmarin.
I have no correspondence to report.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, we're going to move right into public input. This is the time when members of the audience shall be permitted to speak up to 5 minutes on any topic according to Code Ordinance Section 220.21A1. Please come up and give us your name and the city that you're from.
Vince Canonico, Avon Lake. I'm not here because I think I'm going to sway your decision on the Hanford gate. I'm not. I'm here to express how disappointed I am and how disingenuous this whole process has been. My neighbors and I came to you in good faith, and we weren't treated in good faith. When the issue first came up, your first excuse was, well, we can't do this to Pulte. You know, it's just not fair to Pulte to, they need to have this open, right? And then it became clear that Pulte didn't care at all. As a matter of fact, Pulte said, we don't care if it's open or closed. Matter of fact, we'll give you $15,000 if you want a gate. We don't care. So that excuse didn't work for you, right? So you had to pivot. Say, look, we're going to go with the connectivity plan. We have to follow the connectivity plan. So my neighbors and I asked for the connectivity plan, right? As it turns out, it was a photocopy of a 10-year-old map with some Sharpie lines drawn on it. It was ridiculous. So it was clear that that wasn't, the real reason behind your decision, right? So then you said, well, it's not safe. It's not safe for current village to only have one means of ingress and one means of exiting. It's just not safe. That's why we need to open it up. And then we pointed out to you that there are 4 or 5 developments in this city that have one means of ingress, one means to exit, and some of you live in them. So again, one of your meaningless excuses fell by the wayside, right? Okay? So then you said, okay, we're going to do a traffic study. We're going to do a traffic study. And I know I've heard some of you say, well, it wasn't all about the gate. Nonsense. The traffic study was all about the gate. Nobody ever mentioned a traffic study until this issue came up, okay? So you did a traffic study. I was very skeptical from the beginning, right? I didn't believe that this traffic study was really going to be used to make a decision. I thought it was going to be used to justify a decision you already made, okay? All right? So I asked each one of you, I said, look, tell me what the data would have to look like for you to come to the conclusion that we need a gate. Tell me what that would have to look like, right? Not one of you would give me an answer. So a lot of you looking down at the desk when I asked that question, right? Because nobody really was going to use the study to make a decision. You already made your decision, right? You spent $200,000 of the taxpayers' money for a cover. That's what the traffic study really was. And then you got the data back, and what did the data show? It showed exactly what my neighbors and I were afraid of, that opening that boulevard makes it a failing intersection at Hanford and Lear. Closing it off, gating it, doesn't negatively impact any of the other 20 intersections that were studied, right? So there's if you're truly going to make a decision on a gate or no gate based on the data from an 800-page, $200,000 study, then the decision's obvious, right? Put the gate up. Why make a dangerous intersection? But you're still going to do it. You're still going to open it up. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. You know that your actions will create a failing intersection, will create increased danger, increased hazard, not for Current Village, not for Portside, but for every single resident of the city. But you're gonna do it anyway. You're gonna do it, because you always were gonna do it, okay? And if there's an accident, okay, and somebody gets killed, somebody gets seriously hurt, there will be litigation between the parties to the accident, the pedestrian or the two motorists, whatever. There will be. The question is, will there be litigation against the city? Okay, and you're probably thinking, well, sovereign immunity, right? We have sovereign immunity. No, we don't have to worry about it. Sovereign immunity is not limitless, okay? If a judge or a jury determines that you're reckless or that you knowingly created a hazard, you don't get the benefit of sovereign immunity. So you paid $200,000 for a study that confirmed our fears that you were making a failing intersection. And you're doing it anyway. That sounds like recklessness to me. That sounds like it will pierce the sovereign immunity. So you're putting the citizens at risk, you're putting the city at risk, but you're doing it anyway. I can't tell you how disappointed I am in you. This is just, the city deserves better leadership than this. This is shameful. I can't possibly tell you how disappointed I am.
Anybody else want to come forward?
Hi, Debbie Yu, Avon Lake. I want to build on the previous comment and talk about the traffic impact study. I want to remind this council that from the beginning, when this council decided to do the traffic impact study and we learned about the parameters and the days that the traffic counts would be taken, we all expressed our concerns because the traffic study was being taken during the time when school was in their finals. It was bike to school week, and we anticipated that the traffic count may not be accurate. You've also heard from your own fellow council person that the traffic impact study doesn't take into account the inevitable consolidation of the schools on Learwood, and that would obviously increase the traffic on Lear Road and at that intersection. And that was brought up to you not only by your fellow council person, your own consultant indicated that he did not take that information into consideration. And that's a significant amount of traffic that will increase on that road. But despite our concerns about this traffic impact study, about the timing of it, and the data that it would be gathering, you still wanted to proceed forward. There was discussion, if you recall, about moving it into the fall when school was back in session, that perhaps that would give a more accurate data for this council to make its decision. But this council ignored it and wanted to push it through. And so therefore, I'm sure to all of your surprise, your own consultant in its traffic impact study studied 20 intersections, and of those 20 intersections with various with variations on which roads would be open or closed, the study confirmed our worst fears that the intersection of Lear Road with Hanford and Teasel Court would be a failing intersection. In fact, it would be the only failing intersection in Avon Lake. And yet, despite that knowledge, this council still wants to ignore the data created by and provided by your own consultants after spending over $200,000 of Avon Lake's money. You still want to ignore that data and open Hanford Boulevard and allow the intersection of Lear in Hanford and Teasel Court to be a failing intersection. It simply is unconscionable. As you've heard, this having a failing intersection will no doubt create an unsafe intersection, and not just for those who are living in Current Village, Yeager Court, Schiller Court, Teasel Court, Portside, but for all those in Avon Lake who travel on Lear Road. Because if it is failing now, by the time the Learwood School is consolidated and there's increased traffic, it will certainly be even a worse nightmare for all those who come into Avon Lake and live in Avon Lake. And this will certainly create a hazardous and unsafe condition. And yet this council is still recklessly creating and allowing a failing intersection, one that's documented by your own traffic study paid for by Avon Lakers. The solution is simple. Hanford Boulevard should install a gate to at least protect the safety of those in Avon Lake. The gate has Pulte developers have already indicated that they will pay $15,000 to help build this gate, and yet this council still refuses to listen to your own constituents. You still refuse to listen to your own consultants paid for by Avon Lakers, and you still refuse to, and you still choose to ignore what is just common sense, that this will create a failing intersection, and yet you're still looking to open that intersection. And therefore, I would ask that this council reconsider and to vote no on the motion to open Hanford Boulevard. Thank you.
Is there anybody else who would like to come forward on any topic?
Good evening. Doug McCann, last name is spelled M-C-C-A-N-N, and I live at 700 Schiller Court.
Thank you.
First, thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak on this topic of removing the barricade from Hanford Boulevard. I will preface my remarks by saying that I'm not a traffic engineer, but I am a civil engineer, and I'm somewhat familiar throughout my career with dealing with road traffic issues. I have read the traffic study and listened to the presentations from your consultant, Trans Systems, and I found both to be very thorough and well-reasoned. My personal takeaway from these is that exiting from Hanford onto Lear currently has the lowest ODOT level of service rating out of all the 20 intersections that were analyzed, and that the rating will get worse if the Hanford barricade is removed. Currently, approximately 20 vehicles exit Hanford hourly during the day, and this will more than triple to 70 if the barricade is removed. It is estimated in the report that this will cause the average wait time at that intersection there at Lear to increase from 30 seconds to 50 seconds. And while seconds may not sound like a lot, accidents start to occur as drivers get frustrated and they're trying to squeeze into a tighter and tighter spot. And according to the report, the level of service rating would drop from E to an F, as previously stated by my neighbors. The traffic study calculated these values based upon the number of housing units that would have access to Hanford, more than tripling from 75 currently to 270 with the addition of the Portside and Southport developments. However, by my count, there are an additional 258 homes that are already existing that are just east of this development. And they will now have access to Hanford via Millside Lane. The report acknowledges this on pages 42 through 45, that this extra traffic via Millside Lane will add to the values that are stated in the report. But they said in the report that it was difficult to predict how much traffic would come through on Millside, and therefore those numbers were not included in the study. They did do a sensitivity analysis that said that if an additional 10 vehicles per hour accessed Hanford and were trying to turn left or south onto Lear, the average wait time would increase to 60 seconds. If it was 30 vehicles, the wait time would increase to 90 seconds, and if it was 50 vehicles, it would increase to 120 seconds. Again, seconds may not mean much, but we all know that people can get frustrated They're in a hurry, and that's when they try and squeeze into a tight opening. The report also did not estimate what the level of service rating would be or if a traffic light would be warranted based upon Millside Lane traffic. So, given that the level of service rating is currently an E, and that the traffic study is predicting an F if the barricade is removed, and we still have this unknowns regarding the extra traffic that would filter onto Hanford through Millside Lane, I offer the following two suggestions for your consideration. If the Hanford Boulevard is going to be removed, please wait until construction is substantially complete on the Port Side and South Port developments. This will ensure construction traffic stays off of Hanford, and it will also minimize traffic from entering an active construction zone via Millside Lane. Then, after the construction is complete and the residents have moved into their homes, do a new count of that intersection, a traffic count at that intersection, Hanford, Teasel, Lear. Count not just the vehicles, but also the wait times on the vehicles. Then you can determine what the new level of service rating is and whether turn lanes, traffic signal, or a roundabout would be warranted, and maybe the state would contribute. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come forward on any topic? Good evening.
Gerald Phillips, Avon Lake resident, 20 years, concerned citizen. For the Avon Lake residents, I think you should watch a program that Mr. Zimmerman and I put on about the Avon Lake Power Plant. Obviously, we only get 5 minutes, not like ALC that gets all the time they want, so please watch that program. I've been complaining about this PSA, doesn't have a provision that gives the city of Avon Lake the right to have the assignment of the submerged land lease. I've read the submerged land lease. I bet you very few people even seen it or read it. If you haven't seen it and read it, I don't know how you can vote on it. Also, I don't know any good reason why it shouldn't be part of it, okay? Mr. Davis says, well, we have to do it in 2 phases. Well, why 2 phases? I haven't heard one legitimate answers for why we have to do in 2 phases. I, as a real estate attorney, okay, transactional lawyer, would put it in one agreement automatically. I don't understand why you wouldn't. If you look at the PSA, there's an Exhibit G, okay? It's called access for the submerged land lease, easement. That's an easement going across the parkland you're going to buy. Mm-hmm. It's an easement going across your parkland to the submerged land lease that they want, okay? That they want, okay? And they want it in this agreement, okay? Well, is that because they want to make sure they have access to that submerged land lease because they had no intention of giving it to you? That's my take on it. They need an easement to guarantee them the right to get to the submerged land lease that they still own, they have the right to. I find that deception, I find that trickery, and I find it on the aspect of potential fraud. Why do they need that easement if they intend to give you the assignment of the submerged land lease? It shouldn't be in there. Shouldn't be in there. You don't have an unlimited right to terminate this agreement. Once you get a NFL no further action letter, you got 7 days. And if you don't exercise your right to terminate, you waive it and you're stuck. And if you don't have the submerged land lease, you just bought yourself 22 acres of land with no access to the beach. No access to the beach, Miss Gentry, no deal, right? That's how I see it. We can make threats too. No TIF, no deal. I don't think Mr. Davis is representing the city of Avon Lake properly. I've heard no negotiations in all the meetings I've done about what goes into this PSA. What goes in this PSA? I haven't heard anything in an open public meeting, of what this PSA is supposed to be. As far as I know, everything's been behind closed doors, or maybe an executive session. Who knows? At some point, we'll probably find out what's being done in executive session. Jeffrey Smith was a law director. He's a transactional lawyer. The Jeffrey Smith I know and the Jeffrey Smith I respect would not vote yes on this. He say, I want to see that. I want to wait. I want to table it. So I hope the Jeffrey Smith I know exercises the vote he should do. This threat of a lawsuit, okay, this taking claim, that's a bunch of phony baloney, okay? They already agreed to the TIF overlay. How can they say, oh, if you exercise the 1219, we're going to sue you for taking claim? Well, that's part of the agreement. Okay, part of the agreement in the IDA is to do that. Plus, this city has made good faith, fair dealing obligations to get the maximum TIF. If you don't do that, you're going to be in breach. They have hoodwinked you into making contractual agreements that you didn't even agree to. So Section 4 of the ordinance says, all deliberations concerning the PSA has resulted in meetings open to the public. That's a false statement. Brownfield Committee, the CIC, the CIA, your Improvement Corporation.
Anybody else want to come forward on any topic? Good evening.
William Zimmerman. Concerned citizens. As Mr. Phillips just indicated, we've done another show. We hope that you take time out to watch. It'll be educational, we promise. So we have several issues here today for third readings. I'm going to try to shove this through. And again, we're dealing with the PSA. And as Mr. Todd Davis has said numerous times, no TIF, no deal. Is he operating in our best interests or the sellers? Who gets all the money? Not the city of Avon Lake. We believe that he's acted inappropriately in all these negotiations and made himself a boatload of money. And now when we ask for the billings, as I showed you in the last meeting, we get totally redacted items. Not line by line, just totally redacted. I believe this is illegal. He's not operating in the best interest of the citizens of Avon Lake. Why shouldn't we see what we're getting for his time, the meetings and the things that he's doing? We believe that there's potentially still brownfield or CIC meetings that are going on in closed door sessions. Could have been a closed door session here before they came into the chamber. The corruption here runs thick. It's endless. They're trying to shove this PSA through, and now the submerged land lease is a stumbling block. Ms. Gentry has said, no submerged land lease, no deal. Very similar to what Mr. Davis said, except in a different manner. So my question becomes, why isn't this tabled and given more time to work through the muck? because that's what's at the water shoreline now. We've walked back there on the sand and seen all the potential environmental issues or what have you. You would understand. My next statements are about the purchase of Erie View. I don't understand why it's being declared an emergency. Building's not going anywhere. Doesn't make sense to me. Should go 3 full readings, period. Which then brings me to the fact that I see you have an executive session tonight to discuss imminent court actions. So the citizens of Avon Lake know Jeremy Betza has been put on administrative leave. He's been on it since the middle of August. He's representing himself. He's suing the city in federal court. Hear me right. He's suing the city in federal court because his employment has not extended past today. I believe they're trying to put in the assistant chief now as the new chief, or pay him something in those means. But the fact of the matter is they're still trying to push Mr. Betts out. More corruption for acts that supposedly occurred years ago. Mr. Spetzel wasn't even mayor then. So he thinks it's a good idea to bring it up again. Citizens of Avon Lake, things are about to change here on the council. Jennifer's being removed as president.
Anyone else like to come forward on any topic? Come on up, give us your name and your city.
Tony Tominick, 75-year resident of Avon Lake, president of the Avon Lake Historical Society. We live in a wonderful country where all people have an opportunity to speak. And not always do we agree with them, but we have a right to do that. I'm here to give the Avon Lake Historical Society support to the acquisition of 23 acres of property along the Lake Erie shoreline, an area that will serve as a new heart for Avon Lake. As many of you know, the Avon Lake Power Plant once stood as the largest of its kind in the world. Built in 1926, it played a vital role in the region's economy and the lives of countless families. For years, this facility powered our homes and businesses, provided livelihoods for many in our community and region. The stories that have emerged from this place, the dedication, the challenges, and the triumphs are part of our collective history. One of the exciting developments that we are pursuing is the creation of a commemorative garden dedicated to the history of Avon Lake's power plant, or CEI, as many of us remember it being called. This garden will serve as a tribute to the legacy of the plant and the people who dedicated their lives to its operation. This space will share artifacts that we have saved during demolition. Imagine a serene space where we can gather, reflect, share stories, not just about the power plant, but our community, resilience, and strength. The garden will be a living reminder of our past while serving as a gathering place for the future events and celebrations. The Avon Lake Historical Society supports the purchase and use of this very important property along Lake Erie shoreline because it represents not just a piece of land, but a foundation of community growth and connection. This acquisition allows us to honor our history while providing a vital space for gatherings, education, and celebrations. By transforming this area, we ensure that the memories associated with Avon Lake Power Plant continue to inspire future generations and foster a sense of pride in our community. Thank you for the time, and I wish all of you a wonderful Thanksgiving.
Thank you. Anyone else want to come forward on any topic? Sir?
Good evening, Todd Davis, outside counsel to the City of Avon Lake. Just wanted to briefly address some of the public comments that were made just a bit earlier with respect to the submerged land lease in particular, and why it was bifurcated from this transaction, and why we're advocating that it be done in a separate phase to follow the real estate purchase agreement itself. Although it's been indicated as part of this process that we would start the evaluation process, which we have. A statement was made that I have provided no strategy, no background, no information with respect to this transaction. I can tell you that that's not the case. I've made multiple presentations to this city council. I made an extensive presentation with respect to the terms and conditions of the agreement itself. That was the first presentation that I made. That was followed up by a 45-minute presentation that addressed a number of Councilman Shamir's questions in response to a presentation that he made, went into excruciating detail with respect to each and every element of the strategy involved. It goes back to the foundational elements of what the transaction's goals were: to support a transformational project for the city to create one of the best lakefront parks in the entire state of Ohio, to remediate the site in connection with and pursuant to the Ohio Voluntary Action Program, and finally to do it at no cost or significant expense to the city of Avon Lake. Those are fundamental parts of this transaction, and I think that the agreement meticulously adheres to those different goals. Why did we separate the submerged land lease in particular from this formal part of the agreement? There were parties not present in this room that we have to address and collaborate with in connection with that submerged land lease. Number one, recognize that the land is owned by the state of Ohio. So the state of Ohio has to be specifically involved in the submerged land lease negotiations. It's not just an ALC issue. It's something that we're going to have to work with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources, Ohio EPA, potentially multiple parties, prior owners of the power plant, with respect to what their obligations may or may not be in connection with releases to Lake Erie. That's a very complicated process. And if we don't have control of the real estate as the first piece of this transaction, there's no point in even getting into that second phase. We have a limited budget to address this transaction. We have to prioritize the first piece of it, and that's why we structured it the way that we did. Undoubtedly, and we've agreed, we need to investigate the submerged land lease area, but candidly, and what has not been stated, there are areas outside of the specific submerged land lease that may have nothing to do with the submerged land lease at all that also need to be investigated. We need to figure out exactly where any purported or proposed beach is going to be, and then test in those specific areas. But we need permission from Ohio EPA, we need permission from ODNR in order to do that testing and analysis. That takes time, it takes resources. There's other potential grant funds that we need to bring in to help mitigate the costs of that exercise. We're going to need to peel back the different issues and the different agreements in terms of the transaction that has brought this property to this stage. So those are just some of the reasons given this limited time frame. Certainly, we've given a lot of time, effort, and thought with respect to why we need to do that. and we've decided to structure it this way. For someone who's a real estate lawyer, he should know why there's a need for access through an easement to a property which they lease. That's why the easement is in place. There's nothing nefarious about it. It's a simple easement so that they have access to property which they're going to continue to lease. It's that simple. There's nothing else to it. With respect to the statement that keeps coming up, no TIF, no deal, that, as I explained last week, that's not a threat, it's a fact based on the way this deal has been structured. Purchase price for the land is through a TIF. So if there's no TIF, there's no purchase. It's that simple. It's not a threat. It's just the structure of the deal as a way to keep the city from having to invest its own funds in order to acquire the property. And though this is a lengthy process, it's been over 2 years of involvement. We look forward to the next phases. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come forward on any topic?
Thank you, Madam President. Majid Makouf, outside counsel to the city. I just wanted, Todd addressed everything. I just wanted to hit a few points very quickly. Number one, I think Mr. Phillips mentioned that the city has entered into agreements that you don't even know that you've entered into. Just to be very clear, and I think the reference was even to the TIFs, that somehow you've committed to do the TIF. Every process that the city has gone through, the interim development agreement was available to the public for a significant amount of time. The council went through a very deliberative process. You heard from us, you heard from Mr. Phillips, you heard from everybody on that interim development agreement, and it's in plain English, everybody could read it. And there is absolutely no commitment on the part of the city to issue the TIF. What the commitment is from the administration to advocate for it. As I've explained at the last meeting, that there is the issuance of a TIF is something that is dictated by the Ohio Revised Code. There's a process for it. There's the agreement with the school district has to happen. There's an ordinance that has to be introduced in City Council. There is public notice requirements that have to happen with that. And the idea that somehow that this city has committed to issue the TIF is completely incorrect. The second issue is, again, this no TIF, no park. I'm not sure why even that is being used as a threat. I think that even when Todd uses it, when I use that phrase, that's the assurance to the city that the city is not being placed on any obligations, that really the only way to pay for this is the TIF. So you don't have to worry about it if the TIF doesn't happen. There is no, which is completely within the discretion of the council, whether to adopt the TIF or not, that there is no liability there, that there is no, so it's actually a statement that's used as an assurance as opposed to a threat. And the same is true with respect to the purchase and sale agreement. This has been in the public for quite a bit of time. I think we're on the third reading tonight. There's been a series of presentations to the council on all sides of this thing. So this has been done completely. Everything has been in the open, and as explained last time, the process is just beginning. You're still going to have hearings on the TIF. You're going to have hearings on the zoning. You're going to have multiple processes, and even when there's a development, the planning commission involved for the review. So we're far from the end of the public engagement process on all sides of this. But again, I would echo the comment from the Historical Society. This is part of the American way. We all appreciate the opposition, and it's just as healthy hearing from the opposition as it is from us, and we appreciate all the input that the city receives. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to come forward on any topic tonight? You're welcome. Come forward. Don't be shy. Okay, you have one more.
Hi, I'm Jim Zimnick. I'm the director of the Lorain County Metro Parks. I've spoken to you all before, and you know we've been engaged as part of these discussions about potential parkland. And I just, on behalf of the Metro Parks, we want to express our support that this deal go forward. Lake Erie is one of our greatest assets, and I'm notorious for saying it this way. We have 5 Great Lakes. We have one here in our front yard. We have 28 miles of lakefront in Lorain County, which Avon Lake has, a vast majority of that. Access to that greatest asset is greatly reduced along the lakefront. And on behalf of the Metro Parks, and we're in the parks business, we're in the quality of life business. These opportunities, I've been quoted, it's been once in a lifetime. I'd say it's about once every 300 years we'd have this kind of opportunity to get that kind of access, the public access to the lakefront. I would encourage the council to move forward with this. I think it's been shared around with council and through the community. Cities like Detroit, Toronto, Toledo, Cincinnati, the list goes on. Cleveland's on the cusp of doing something if they, whatever happens with the stadium there. I think there's a message there, okay? Access to that resource, that natural resource, access to the water. It's a great opportunity, as the gentleman spoke earlier about the gardens. That quality of life, that remembrance, I think it's important. And as others have pointed out from Mr. Davis on about site control. I've spoken to the council before about how we early on had worked with the city in trying to seek some funds from the state and the federal level, and we were rejected. And why was that? Well, what do you own? What do you have an easement to? I think this is the beginnings, and again, it's been pointed out, this is the very, very early stages, but it allows the city of Avon Lake in partnership with us, if they're so willing. We have no agreement. I want to be clear about that. We have currently no contractual relationship between the Metro Parks and the city of Avon Lake. We welcome it. We'd love to be, but we represent everybody in this county as much as you represent the citizens of Avon Lake. We think it's owed to the citizens. We think it's owed to the community. But we'll never get there together, individually, unless you can get site control. This council has considered legislation related to the brownfields, the Ohio Department of Development, OEPA. You can't get there. You can't get those funds. There's millions and millions and millions of dollars available for remediation and brownfield cleanup. You'll never get there, respectfully, unless you have site control. Again, I want to thank the council for your time and support, and hope you make the right decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else come forward at this point in time? See no one else coming forward. So therefore, we're going to go on to our reports. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. I want to let everybody know we had a very successful Light Up the Park event on Saturday. Very well attended, biggest one we've had so far. We added a parade with a light show, and it was very, very well received. I'm sure that will grow next year. Of course, Santa was the star of the show, most popular person on the park, as we lit up Veterans Park. And so kids had a great time. We had live reindeer, we had ice sculpting, we had the parade, we had a petting zoo, we had a craft show, all kinds of fun had by all. So I want to thank everybody who participated in that, particularly our rec department who did such a fabulous job in setting that up. I want to wish everybody a very happy and safe Thanksgiving before I end my report. And I'll have some comments regarding the PSA when it comes up for legislation, but I'll leave that for that time.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was a fantastic Light Up the Park. And also there was musicians there, and they invited the children to come up on the stage to sing songs we all know, Jingle Bells and Dashing Through the Snow and all of that. Any other comments? I think probably next year you're going to have more vehicles lit up. For those of you that were there, and those that weren't there, the Public Service Department had a snow plow that was really decked out. It was fantastic, the lights on it. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Mayor, comments? All right, we're going to go on to the Council President's Report. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to thank all the people that are on Council right now for assisting me since September of last year when Marty O'Donnell resigned. And we went through a transition period. We put together an ad hoc committee that helped us with our boards and commissions, which we're working on right now. We redid Section 220. We put together a format for the public and policies of what we did. I'm very, very proud for what we have done. And we had an election. And at that election, there were I'm going to call them three new people that came forward. And I believe it's time now to pass that gauntlet on to others. So when we held the council-elect meeting last week, which according to our charter we need to hold, right, I nominated Jeffrey Smith to be the next council president, and it was 7-0. We all agreed on that. And Jeffrey was so kind as to offer me a pro tempore, and I chose not to do it. And Mr. Cos was once again nominated, and again, 7-0, we supported Mr. Cos. And so that tells you that going forward, there is a unified way of wanting to do business, and that we're all wanting to work together, and that we're bringing out each of our talents. And I'm going to open the floor at this point to my council members, if anybody else would like to speak to this. But I want to thank who's in the audience. We have Kayla Goodwin, we have Matthew Reynolds, and tonight they were caught up with some of the work that we're doing, and we're bringing them along the entire way. Anybody else want to have any comments? Mr. Smith?
No, I see some hands up down at the other end. I just want to thank the council-elect. Thank you, Madam President, for the nomination.
You're welcome.
As we move forward with the city and making sure that it's the best place that it can be, because it is the best place that it can be right now, and we got to make it better. Thank you.
Absolutely, thank you. Anybody else? Yes. Ms.
I just
Dunphy.
wanted to thank Madam President. She's done a fantastic job helping guide us newbies, who are now no longer the newbies, guiding us and giving us the instruction that we needed to get us to where we are, and to make all the changes that you've promoted. I think we're in a much better place, and I appreciate all the hard work that you've done.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you. Mr. Shamir?
I would like to second that and say that, you are by far one of the hardest working council people that I know. You have been working relentlessly, so thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Shamir. Mr. Cos?
Yeah, thank you, Madam President. A couple years ago, I was very proud to nominate you for council president, and you did an outstanding job. And as you stated, with turning over almost 50%, or two new people coming in, and Mr. Smith now getting a full term, the opportunity, it's the right time to make a change. And I respect your humbleness to be able to step back and say, it's time for new people to do this. I've had my run at this, and I know that you are in support of this body as a whole, and that you will continue to do everything you can for the people of Avon Lake. And you've done a great job, and we'll say more about this as we get to the end of the year, but your work as council president is greatly appreciated, and it's going to be long lasting because you made a lot of really significant changes that are really positive. So thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cos. Thank you. I really enjoy working for the public, and as you have heard, we are supportive of each other, and this is something that is going to benefit all of you, the citizens of Avon Lake. With that said, I'm going to go into this next CCM is going to be December the 1st at 7 p.m. in the chamber. The next council meeting is going to be December the 8th, and it's going to be in the chamber. And then I'm going to alert you to December the 15th. We're going to have a double meeting, both a council meeting and a CCM with a council meeting following it. The council-elect, the next meeting, and this time Mr. Smith is going to be in charge of it. It's going to be December the 4th at 6 p.m. And with that, I am going to turn it over now to the law director, unless there's any other comments. Okay.
Thank you, Madam President. No report this evening from the law department.
Thank you. How about a finance director report?
Yes, I have just one item. Thank you, Madam President. The 2024 financial statement audit has been completed, finalized, and released by the Auditor of State and can be found on the city's website for anyone who's interested. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any comments on that? All right, we're going to move now to Public Works Director, Mr. Liskovic.
Yeah, I have a number of items for this evening. First, I wanted to kind of dovetail on the comments that were made earlier about the Public Works involvement with the Light Up the Park event. And I'd like to recognize a handful of those employees that participated. And they are Tad Smith and Pat Stokes are predominantly responsible for all the lighting you see in Betts Park. They do a phenomenal job and rather enjoy it. So they may or may not say that they enjoy it, but you can see in their work that they do that they put in the extra effort to make it just a wonderful place to be. With that, the Tad and Pat teamed up with Larry and Larry Joe Abfall to put together that plow truck piece that was in the parade. I did have a chance to see it. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend the event, but I did get to see it Friday before it went out, and I was just blown away. I gave them full creative liberties on it, and they definitely knocked my socks off. So I'd like to just recognize them for their work.
Especially the elf that was in the very center. The children, they noticed that.
So now on to other items. First and foremost, Walker Road Phase 5 was open to two-way traffic today. We still do have a balance of some additional auxiliary stripings that need to happen. Those are weather dependent and more than, again, we've got some rain coming in the forecast tomorrow and colder temperatures on Wednesday. We will have a striping of some form down. It may be a temporary striping where they'll have to return in the spring to do the full thermoplastic that should be in there. Thermoplastic, for those who aren't aware, it's a longer lasting actual plastic that's applied, but it has to have specific pavement temperatures and conditions for it to be effective and be successful. So that's open and restored. The Alps project, just a couple updates on that. As we're nearing completion of that project, we had some additional features that were installed over the weekend. The donor pavers were installed at the south entrance leading into the park. We have for next week, right after the first week of December, we've got fencing coming in, and then there is, as Director Fatch and the mayor and ourselves are working on it, kind of culminating it with a ceremonial grand opening. But those are all kind of things coming up here in the month of December. And looking forward to moving forward with that. Next on my list, there is going to be a comment period opening up for the ODOT sidewalk project for the western component. That's from Route 83 to Sheffield. This comment period is a direct result of the 4F environmental document determination document that we talked about previously. And so that's going to be opening up. It'll be publicized on the website. There'll be comments will be directed to me if they have them. And I believe we have till the end of December that period will be open for. So that'll be coming up soon for that component. Additionally, we've got a pre-construction meeting coming up the first week of December for the Edgewood Outfall Rehabilitation Project. So once we have that pre-construction meeting, we'll have schedule from the contractor and all the other particular details about that project. And last, I just wanted to conclude with a quick update on the City Hall mold remediation in the basement. Last week we had industrial hygienists in to do the pre-mitigation air quality sampling. Today, Service Master was the contractor selected, and they began the mitigation work today. Once their work is done, we'll do a post air quality mitigation or or post-air quality monitoring to determine the effectiveness of the mitigation and if they have to do any additional work. So more to come on that, but that project is moving along. And that's all I have for you this evening.
Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Mr. Cos?
Thank you. Mr. Liskovic, I want to thank you and Mr. Howard and your team for the work that you've done with the RRFB, which has now been installed at Walker Road and Moorwood over there. It's been a long time, and I know the representative from Pulte is here as well too. And I remember when we went into that process well over a year ago, thinking that everything's lined up, the money's there, and it's going to be a quick process. And supply chains and every other delay that was outside of our care took place, but you stayed on it. The residents kept us on it as well too, and it's installed, it's functioning, and I just want to let you know that it's appreciated, the work that you and Chris did in your team, like I said. So really want to say for them and for myself as well too, thank you very much for a job well done. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
You could pass that on to them.
I will definitely.
Please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cos. Mr. Shamir, I saw your hand.
Well, I'd like to thank the Public Works Department and the director. You know, they do a thankless job every fall with clearance of leaves and brush. And I know that you see their vehicles going around all the time. But it is coming to an end, and if you could tell us exactly when that service is going to come to an end, I think it would help everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Mr. Zuber?
Yes, I'm going to continue to lavish praise on the Public Works Department for all the concrete work you did at 118 Moore Road. I think they're very appreciative, and I know there's some more work that needs to be done, but that's been a long time coming, and I'm grateful for all the work that's been done.
Much appreciated. I will let the crew know for sure.
Thank
And
you,
then,
Mr. Zuber.
if I go back, Mr. Shamir, I do have a date. I don't have it with me right now, but I will have it for next meeting.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, then, are you finished with your report, sir?
Yes.
All right, very good. We're going to move on then. Thank you. We have now standing committees. The very first one is Building and Utilities. Ms. Gentry?
Yes, I just wanted to announce that we have been granted from NOPEC the Soul Smart Cohort Award. And Ms. Mayor, do you want to give a little bit about that award?
So the award was, they came in and did an analysis of our facilities and recommended options that we have to be more green. We've accepted those as recommendations, and as part of their participation in that, we were able to win that award. So we greatly appreciate their recognition.
Great.
Thank you, Ms. Gentry.
Yes, and the other thing is, I also wanted to lump some praise on Mr. Liskovic for completing the work to get the NOPEC grant, all the components ordered and everything for that grant. So we've utilized all the money that they provided for us, and I appreciate getting that done. We also had talked in Building and Utilities about doing a facilities condition assessment. And while that was not approved in the budget, I know that we were going to continue because we all understand that that's an important part of planning ahead for the future and future expenses, that we're going to try and do that as a building at a time to try and get that done. And that was the end.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Gentry?
We will not have a meeting in December.
Okay, thank you. Then the next is Mr. Shamir with Communications, Environmental, and Recreational Programming, sir.
Nothing to report since the last meeting.
Okay, very good. Thank you, sir. And will there be a meeting in December?
No, there's not a meeting in December.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, any comments? All right, we're going to go on now to Mr. Arnold with Economic Development.
Thank you. No report tonight?
Is there going to be a meeting in December, sir?
No, there won't be unless something comes up, but on my radar, no.
Okay, thank you. Next, we go on to Mr. Zuber. Finance?
Finance Committee will meet next month on December 1st at 6 p.m. here in the council chambers. I'm going to meet with the finance director tomorrow to go over some items. One of the items I know we're going to have a discussion is the raises for the non-bargaining employees. We'll look to speak about that, and also in the HR committee, hopefully to move that by the end of the year. We do have several pieces of legislation. The one that we're going to suspend the rule on is the purchasing procedures. We've been dealing with that for 2 years, I think now. And so we'll suspend the rule. That's on second reading. Fees for the pool, increases for the pool, and for video from the police department. We will also have the first reading of the 2026 budget.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Zuber? Okay, we're going to go right on to Mr. Smith with Human Resources, and he's going to address the one item.
Thank you, Madam President. Human Resources has actually 2 items on the agenda tonight. One is the salary for the acting fire chief. Peter, I think I'd like to just turn that over to the mayor. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor?
Yep, thank you. So Steve Petersman, he is the assistant chief. He's been in the capacity of acting chief since August. And we feel that the additional duties and responsibilities that he's had to take on since that time are deserving of some wage increase. So we have proposed a 7.5% increase retroactive back to that date, and that is before you tonight as an ordinance.
Thank you, Mayor. And then the other item.
Excuse me, sir. Any comments on this from the rest of council? Mr. Shamir?
The question that I had is that the typical process that we go through with acting chiefs in the past?
So this is not a typical situation. Often when there's an absence temporarily in a department head position, the assistant, in this case, the assistant fire chief, would just assume those duties with no further financial funding. But given the extent of this and the uncertainty, we thought it was necessary to provide him with a stipend for that.
Thank you. Mr. Smith, back to you.
Yeah, thank you. The other item we have is the ordinance relative to the new assistant deputy clerk of courts, deputy clerk of council, setting forth the job qualifications. Thank you.
Any comment on this one? And then, Mr. Smith, dealing with the non-bargaining issue that was going to be on your agenda, do you want to talk about the plan for that one?
Oh.
The non-bargaining wage increase? We have removed the agenda, you've removed your committee?
Oh, yeah. We have moved the committee to meet next Monday during the CCM to discuss that relative to the non-bargaining folks and the raises that they should be getting at the beginning of next year. We did, so we're not going to be, you're correct, we're not having a human resource meeting on the 8th. We're just going to have it at the CCM on the 1st.
Because there was only one item on it. Okay. Mr. Zuber, your hand was up?
Well, no, I was just going to comment on that.
Okay. Okay, sir. Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Cos, Public Safety and Health.
Thank you. The Public Safety and Health Committee met on November the 18th at 5:30 here in the council chambers. There were several items on the agenda. I will just touch on the topic of them and then discuss a couple of them when they come up later on during the portion of the meeting for time's sake. We had a report from our city representative, Michaela Highland, from the Lorain County Board of Health report. Then we jumped into some of the unfinished business. We had a discussion and then a subsequent vote on the Southeast Quadrant traffic study. That resulted in a motion that is on the agenda tonight that is going to be sponsored by Mr. Smith, and I'm sure we'll comment on that at that time. Additionally, the Blue Envelope program was discussed. I won't discuss this too much, but it was a presentation by a resident, Carla Fitch, about the Blue Envelope program. I will talk more about this next week at the collective committee meeting when this is going to be a topic of discussion. And then finally, we have on the agenda tonight for suspension of the rule on the first reading, legislation for the Quick Response Team Memorandum of Understanding renewal. I'm asking for a suspension of the rule on this because the current memorandum of understanding has expired, and it's important to get this program, this memorandum back up and going. This assists opioid and opioid-related overdose people that have opioid overdoses or opioid-related overdoses. This gets them the help that they need from the city of Avon Lake and the proper professionals within a 30-day time period. And so it's important to get this agreement back up and going so we can start helping people again as soon as we can. And I'll discuss this more when we get to it in the agenda. But that's the reason for the suspension of the rule. And keeping with the rest of council, there will be no safety committee meeting in December unless something were to come up that required it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any comments from Mr. Cos? All right, then we're going to go on then to public service. And public service, the next meeting was going to be the 3rd, but we have a conflict in our schedule. So it's going to be on Monday, the 8th, right before the next CCM meeting, the council meeting. And it's going to be right before the council meeting. It's going to be at 6 p.m. So public service is going to be on the 8th, and it's going to be at 6 p.m. in these chambers. Tonight, before us, there is one item that is going to be suspension of the rule emergency passage, and that one item has to do with resolution number 25-82. It has to do with a brownfield grant. And the reason why at the second reading we're going to have suspension of the rules is that we need to meet the deadline of our application, which is the first week of December. And we already have Verdantis working on the application. And this grant is an assessment grant for $300,000. Any comments? Okay, seeing none, we're going to move on now to the Planning Commission. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. There are two items on for tonight. They both involve the same subdivision. It's for Harbor Crest Townhouse subdivision. I have been informed that all the requested changes that the engineer put forward at Planning Commission have been accomplished and are done. So that is ready for a suspension of the rule on the 3 readings for both of those ordinances as the end of the year is coming, and we need to keep this moving along. And Mr. Filipkowski's here as well, who's represents the developer, if in fact there were any questions, which I don't think there will be, but it's up to council.
Thank you. Any comments from our colleagues? Okay. At this point, we're going to move on then to the zoning board. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. The next meeting will be Wednesday, December 10th, and there's currently one case on the agenda.
Thank you. Any comments from anybody? Parks and Recreation Commission, Mr. Shamir.
Nothing to report, and there is no meetings in the month of December.
Thank you. Special committee meetings. Anybody? Mr. Smith?
Yes, thank you. Community Relations Board met on November 13th at our meeting to discuss items of concern that board raised. Was Rob Rua to discuss various computer issues that are out there, and also there was Tom Carlton to discuss ADA, and it was quite interesting to hear what Mr. Carlton had to say relative to the ADA and how it's changed from the time he first started working here to the present. So it was a nice meeting, and that's all I have to report on that. Thank you.
Thank you. Good report. Anybody else? Okay, the Tree Commission's not going to be meeting in December. Excuse me. Their next meeting is going to be January the 14th at 6 p.m. at the old firehouse. At this point in time, we're going to move on to motions. Are there any additions or deletions of motions from anyone? Motions. Okay. I don't see any. Okay, we're going to move on then to the very first motion. Mr. Smith.
Thank you, Madam President. I move to authorize removal of the barrier on Hanford Boulevard between Current Village and Portside Subdivision.
In discussion?
Thank you. Since 2001, when the Hanford Current Village Drive, Current Village was approved, there's been a sub-street at the end of that street, which is the subject of this connection. It's been there for over 20 years. I think at the time it was clear that there was to be connectivity within the city. I think that was affirmed at our meeting that we had at Public Safety when both the police chief and the fire chief said that it was in the interest of safety that this barrier be taken down. I also, relative to the traffic study that was done, it also showed another intersection that was in danger of having some potential difficulties going into the future. Beside Hanford Drive was Bridgeside Drive. And the two of them have the same issue, is that Teasel Court is across from Hanford and Long Point is across from Bridgeside. So I think the traffic study showed that overall, the city's planning and the traffic that moves through these areas is very good. And while there is some concern because it's going to be a little slower, a little harder to make a left-hand turn and get out, our expert, and we need to rely on our experts when it comes to these kind of matters, said that the delays did not warrant any signalization there. I think that's important. The other thing that's important relative to our study is that we are going to have schools that get remodeled on Lear Road, and that study should be coming in helpful for them. And it should be reminded that the study wasn't just for Hanford, but for the entire area that was there. And I appreciate Mr. McCann coming in particular, talk about that it's 30 to 50 seconds is the delay that's going to be there. And I would agree with him, and it's a matter of the administration making sure that construction traffic doesn't go through that area, and I would ask that the administration make sure that that is accomplished. The representative of Pulte is here, so I'm sure that they will do their best to keep the construction from going through, but I think it's going to be a process. So that's what we have. Obviously with no light being warranted, if there was a light warranted, obviously we would put the light up, but it's not, and I'm interested to hear what the other council members have to say. Thank you.
Further discussion from any of our colleagues? Mr. Shamir?
Did I hear correctly that the schools will be utilizing this report as a part of their planning? Because as far as I know, that the schools were not counted in this study.
If I may.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, so they're going to be utilizing the data from our extensive study. They're going to be doing their own. However, we have already provided them our study so that it is a starting point for their future study.
Anything further, Mr. Shamir?
Yes. Actually, I do. I mean, the discussion, and again, through this process, has been to keep the area barricaded until construction is complete. Because we had a similar issue at Liberty Rose. Liberty Rose was impacted heavily by construction traffic. Now, there is multiple issues with respect to construction traffic. As construction traffic moves through a street, the loads are going to adversely impact that road. So the loads adversely impact. And unfortunately, we tried to get construction traffic stopped cutting in through Liberty Rose, and it was not successful. I mean, there were on a number of occasions where I showed videos of heavy trucks as well as equipment transecting Liberty Rose. So the discussion, and from what I understand, the discussions between the mayor, the law director, and the residents of Hanford was that they would keep that road closed until construction was complete. Is that no longer the case?
Mr. Mayor?
I'd have to go back and read the MOU. I don't have it with me. I don't think it was until it was complete. It was council's decision ultimately to decide when that was going to be. There was no time put on, until significant or nearly complete. I don't know, Mr. Law Director, if you remember the exact language, but I don't think there was anything relative to the completion of the subdivision in relation to that closure.
Mr. Ebert?
I don't remember specific, Mayor, but I do remember this discussion until the traffic study report came.
Correct.
That was part of the main
Yeah.
thing that was actually
But
looked at, not to do anything till the traffic study report was presented to council and reviewed.
Any further discussion, Mr. Liskovic, on this topic before we go on to other council people? Do you remember a discussion?
I don't recall, unfortunately.
Okay, because I know that you're part of the administration. I also saw, I thought it was Ms. Gentry's hand. Ms. Gentry?
Yeah, I seem to recall that the agreement was until the construction was complete, that the barrier would remain in place, but we'll have to, Mr. Zuber, did you have your hand up?
Mr. Zuber?
Yeah, I was just going to make the comment. I cannot support this unless we are assured by the administration and Pulte that this will stay closed until construction is finished. Because I think that there's been history on doing this the same way. Danbury Road's the same thing. We kept that closed until the construction was finished in that area of Legacy. So I think that we really need to get some type of an insurance that the road will be closed until we have construction finished from either the administration or Pulte.
And actually, it really helps the builder, the developer, because they don't have to have cross-traffic with residents, and there's children, there's kids, there's a lot going on. I agree with you, Mr. Zuber, that in the past, we have waited until construction was done before we would open something up. Further discussion down here about Ms. Gentry, your hand's still up.
Yes, so I just wanted to, are we still, is it okay to make a motion to change the motion to update? Or do we want to have further discussion and then address that?
So what we can do, I think there's discussion if everybody could be kind of quiet in the gallery back here. There's discussion up here as to whether or not it is an administrative thing that takes place. And Ms. Rossmarin is pulling up the MOU as we're talking. So I'm hoping that by the time we're done talking, because we have a few more council people that want to say something, that she'll have what the MOU had at that point in time. Have you pulled it up? Ms. Rossmarin would like to share what she has.
If the law director wants to take a
Law director, would you like to take a look at what she has?
I don't have it.
She has it right here.
You want to just look at the law.
Let me pass it over to you, sir. Gary,
Shall install a gate.
here you go.
I got it
Sorry.
right here. The council city shall install a gate lights and meters in the adjacent unless a traffic study has
We're
been
trying.
complete. Right. Located unless a traffic study has been completed and reviewed by council and a determination has been made not to install the gate. The type and gate shall be the sole and absolute discretion of the city, so it does say until a traffic study is complete. That's what we talked about.
Let me check and make sure there's nothing else.
There's
Is
nothing
there
else.
anything that follows that, Ms.
Well, it
Rossmarin?
says shall remain in place until such time as the city removes it and shall, this is talking about the gate.
Yeah.
And shall not disturb or remove the gate for any reason. Pulte agrees not to remove it. And it does say, as the city has expressed an interest in completing a traffic study involving the traffic that could be caused by connected. Such traffic study may be completed at its discretion. And
In addition, read the addition.
right, that's the one.
Yeah, it talks about the traffic study.
It talks up here about connected.
Perhaps it didn't make it into.
So I'm going to put your question on hold for just a moment while there's some other information coming up.
Okay.
Mr. Cos?
Yeah, thank,
Can I,
Yeah. Oh,
I
you're-
wanted to
yes.
comment on,
Oh, you could just hold
Altogether.
Mr. Cos. Go ahead, Ms. Gentry.
so I just wanted to say that I'm glad that this process is finally coming to an end. When it started out, we had discussed with the residents of Current Village and had every intention to work with you all. And that was we made every effort to pull in all of your requests, and we did spend quite a bit of money on this exact study. Whether or not the implementation was at the specific time that you needed was be debated. The analysis that they did with shifting and adding additional traffic, I believe took care of the difference in timing of when that occurred. I wish that the presentation that they had provided as part of the agenda had actually had the narration that he provided to us instead of just providing the actual screenshots of the results, because I think it was very misleading in that his statements did not indicate to me that it was as bad as it appeared. So when he was referring to an F, the F meant that it was a little bit longer, and he mentioned several times, I went back and listened, he mentioned several times that it wasn't that big of a deal. The queuing standpoint, 50 feet of queuing, he said, was not enough to block any of the other streets. He believed that the flow of traffic would adjust itself over the long term for people that didn't want to wait for that extra 30 seconds. A stop sign is not so bad as to justify, it was, the stop sign was sufficient. It did not, the amount of traffic did not justify a signal. People will notice, he said, but it's not a several minute delay. And while we did listen to the residents, there are other residents who also we had to listen to. And those are the residents on the other side who would be impacted directly with the gate being an obstruction to the emergency vehicles. The police and fire chiefs made it absolutely clear that those gates should not be in the way of their ability to get to instances where seconds count. And so balancing this information, I came to the conclusion that that barrier should be removed. And I do agree that if the administration determines that a only turn or no turn left during that peak 1 hour a day, I would support putting that sign up if the administration determines it's time to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Cos, now it's your turn.
Thank you. I have kind of two different sets of topics on this. So the first, I'd like to go back to the construction issue before I have my other comments as well too. So if there's nothing in the MOU that talks specifically about construction, Mr. Mayor, your administration, Mr. Liskovic, what is your intent on either, if council authorizes this to be removed, what is your intent to ensure that no construction traffic goes through there? What can we do better? Because Mr. Zuber mentioned some of the past instances where we've had to deal with this, where we say no construction traffic and then we end up having to deal with it. And I see Pulte's here as well too. So how is this going to be different? Since there's nothing in the memorandum stating it, how is this going to be different, sir?
I don't say that it could be different. I know that Mr. Filipkowski has done a great job in informing his folks not to utilize these areas and to utilize the construction entrances. I'll also recognize that there's no way possible to make that 100% foolproof. It just can't happen. So we have to weigh that then. Is it worth it to keep that gate in there for those times when construction traffic might go through? Or do we try to monitor that the best we can and deal with it? I'm open to consideration from the council on what you would like to do on that. I think we move forward on removing the barrier, and then if the council feels it's necessary to keep those up until there's a substantial completion of construction, I don't know what that means. That's going to be a vague term. Is it until 80% of the houses, 50% of the houses? Where do we draw the line? 100% of the houses? That could be a year or more. So I think that it opens up a different issue, but I'm willing to listen to council. Where do you want to go with it?
Thank you. We still have, I want to see if Mr. Cos is finished yet, Mr. Shamir.
I have more, but on this topic, I think
Sure.
Mr. Shamir wants to respond to
Mr.
that. So if
Shamir,
you could just come back to me
Thank
after
you.
that.
Yes,
Thank
I will,
you.
sir. would you want to respond to this topic, sir? Thank you.
So, I look at it as a multifold issue when it comes to construction traffic. One is the flow of heavy vehicles as it pertains to people's movement through that street. The next one is the impact of those heavy vehicles on the roads. And I'll be quite honest, we don't want to adversely impact our roads at this point in time when we are having an issue financially dealing with road maintenance and construction. So, Mr. Filipkowski, I know he does a great job, but unfortunately, all his contractors coming through, that's the issue. I mean, and that is what we had at Liberty Roads. To me, if we set a marker of when we remove the obstruction based on a completion, I am fine with it. But if we don't manage construction traffic, we will have an issue in those neighborhoods, and we will also have an issue with our roads. And I can give you case in point with heavy vehicles transecting the west winds along those paths. All those roads are now adversely impacted. So are we willing to open up to construction traffic? I am not, as a person. Would I say yes to opening it? Yes. I mean, based on what is been studied and shown, I can understand that based on the criteria that's been given and the concept of the flow equalizing over time. But the issue that I've got is construction traffic. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else want to comment on this particular one issue? Mr. Arnold.
I mean, we have our Pulte rep here. I would ask, can he speak? I'd like to know exactly how far is the process along now? And then how long would it take to complete the full development?
Could you come up, please, sir? Thank you.
Keith Filipkowski with Pulte Homes. I've been sworn in. That part of things.
The planning commission.
No, I mean, it's all market dependent, right? Depending on how fast we can move through the project, right? We have stepped up to the plate in terms of situating an MOU that was carefully orchestrated in the terms of which were to do with the traffic study and the completion thereof. We have a community to sell as well. I just want to make a clarifying point that the traffic construction that has been found to come through Liberty Roads at any given time has been found not to be of Pulte contractors, unless somebody can prove me otherwise. That has been the case as far as I know. There's another builder developer right next to our community that also has construction traffic. And so, not for the sake of construction vehicles, but for the sake of selling efforts to allow our consultants and prospects to enter from the Hanford Boulevard side is something that is of interest to us at this point. I would gladly still partner with the city in terms of working through with John logistics of directionals in terms of construction vehicles not allowed, whatever we need to come up with to prevent that from happening. As the mayor said, there's no 100% foolproof plan other than blocking the road off, which we know fire and safety want some access. So perhaps all that considered, if the board was to consider the idea of managing access of construction vehicles, that, whether there's a gate where it's located now, or whether what I may propose is a new area for a temporary blockade, which would be on the other side of our townhome community, entering into the Southport community, which, if I'm correct, in all the construction vehicle traffic that's been problematic has been from not from Pulte, other contractors. Perhaps that's a more suitable location, whereby we can allow sales access in and still keep this idea of a super block connection, just isolating the Portside community. That would be my preference. Obviously, I'm at the mercy of whatever the board decides, but that's my 2 cents. We have tried to manage it as best as reasonably possible in terms of setting expectations, road signs, immediate e-blasts and communication to our entire trade base the moment we get indication that something, there has been a breach on the Liberty Rose. And again, unless I'm mistaken, it has been found that none of those construction vehicles have been from Pulte.
I could keep you here for a second. So you and I dealt with this at Legacy Isle. And what we ended up doing is we ended up having the construction vehicles with a lot of signage, right? And you were patrolling it, and every time I got a complaint, I was sending it to you along with the police department. They were all sending it to you. And we were training the subs how to approach Legacy Isle because they were coming in off of J. Cox. And you're right, Mr. Shamir, the road was torn up, right? And we ended up redirecting them, correct? And we directed them where they could be coming off of 83, where the actual turns into the development were actually wider for the corners for the larger trucks to be able to make them. And they've been abiding for probably 95, 96% of them have been abiding by it. But yet, individuals could travel in their family vehicles. It wasn't the construction vehicles. It wasn't the subs. And we were able to control it that way. Because I agree with my colleagues that construction vehicles need to stay off of Hanford. This is not where they should be, just like they should not be on Liberty Rose. I totally agree with that. I think everybody up here agrees. I see heads shaking. And that is something that we can continue to do through signage. Is it going to be 100%? No, as Mr. Mayor says, there are people that just do what they're going to do, right? But we all help each other by reporting it, and the main individual to report it to is you, not only with pictures, not only with license plates, but quickly done so it could be handled, which you have done. So going back to my colleagues' comments about construction, I believe that we can control most of that construction off of there by having them come down Walker Road, which is where they're supposed to be coming anyhow. Correct?
Yep.
Right? Okay. And is that something, I will just a second, is that something that Mr. Shamir and Ms. Gentry and Mr. Kaz would be consistent with in your agreement to that one point, Mr. Kaz?
Yeah, I would just say on this part of it, nobody wants construction traffic going through
Right.
there.
Correct.
And I think that the administration and Mr. Filipkowski have heard this from us, that this needs to really be watched and reported and dealt with. And I think as a council, if it's abused, if it's not being followed, this council has an opportunity to put this temporary gate back up through a vote of council. So as easy as we can say we will remove it, if there's abuse from the construction, not following the signs and all of that, we could always by vote put it back up and deal with it that way.
Right, and also the police department can cite, which we unfortunately had to do twice on Legacy Parkway. To my left, yes, sir, Mr. Arnold.
No, just to follow up on that, I kind of want to get a gauge on how many homes are going to be built and how long in the time span.
How many more homes,
To
sir?
the mayor's point, I mean, that could go on for a very long time. I don't think it's advantageous to keep that blocked for that period of time, and we don't even know when that would happen. So that's it. Thanks.
How many more homes do you
I'm
have?
not sure the exact count. Probably about a 2-year run still left before we're completely finished out of there.
Because you're selling very rapidly.
Yeah, but we haven't even begun to sell the townhomes in the back. We're just embarking on that. That's 18 units, so probably still have about halfway through to get with our phase 2. So we have a significant amount of time.
So freeze a second. So what I'm hearing from my colleagues, and tell me if I'm hearing you right. Mr. Zuber, go ahead before I summarize.
I would like to amend the motion, adding shall take place upon final construction of the subdivision. I would like to amend the motion to add that language. If you need me to repeat it again, I
Yes,
shall.
if you would, please.
Shall take place upon final construction of the subdivision.
I disagree. I don't think that's what we just
But hang on a second, we have a motion on the floor, so the way that this works is that we're going to have a vote on adding the motion, and then it'll either go up or it'll go down, and we'll go back to the original, okay? That's where we are right now.
No.
Okay, sorry. Does everybody understand where we are? So this is going to be a motion to add what Mr. Zuber just said. To amend. Ms. Ross Marin, can you read the roll, please?
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
No.
Ms. Gentry?
No.
Mr. Koss?
No.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
No.
Okay, the amendment has failed. So we're going to go back. And what has been discussed is that through signage and through reporting, that we can control the construction. Mr. Koss, we're going to go back to you. Sir?
This will be my final comment on this part of it, and I'll save the rest of my comments for the study as a whole, which I really want to get to. But on the construction part of it, and the reason I voted no, Mr. Zuber, on this was because your motion was until final completion of the construction.
Right.
I don't know what that means. Is that every last house, every last detail on the very last house? What if there's a delay and the last couple don't get built for another year or two? It was a vague term, and that's why. Had it been worded a little bit differently, I could have been very receptive to it. But that was the reason that I voted no on that, sir. I just wanted to let you know that. I do not disagree that the construction traffic needs to be eliminated at all, if at all possible. I recognize that'll be very difficult to do, but I also will stand by that if it is abused, this council, my safety committee, which Mr. Smith and Ms. Gentry are part of, I think have heard enough and would be prepared to bring back a motion to put things back the way that they currently are if that's an issue in the future.
Thank you. Ms. Gentry, was your hand up, or did I see something? No. Mr. Shamir, was that your hand I saw? Okay.
The only thing that I'll say is with respect to, again, I look at construction maybe a bit differently. I look at construction as heavy equipment, excavators, concrete pours, and that is equipment that impacts what we call a road. So you don't have an idea of when that activity is going to be completed. Pouring foundations and excavating foundations, at some point in time, that I would assume is going to be completed. Final completion from the time that you pour concrete and put your structure under roof is actually a significant amount of time, I would assume. So when I listen to construction, I look at construction pretty much as heavy equipment associated with excavators, trucks hauling off dirt, and concrete pouring equipment. So that is what I would consider end of construction. The rest of it is fine works, which is really not equipment that would impact the roads.
Mr. Shamir, what we were experiencing in Legacy Legacy Parkway, which is a boulevard-type road, was when the wood frames were coming in on the heavy trailers, and they were cutting the corners and what have you. So it's not just the excavation. But I do have a comment, if I could. The motion before us is the removal of barrier on Hanford Boulevard between Current Village and Portside Subdivision. And I agree with my colleagues. And there's one part I want to share. And that is that our consultants shared with us that when that right turn only, or do not turn left, you can do it either way, would go into effect the hour of the peak hour in the morning and in the evening, that there would be no F, that there would be no issue with it. And that is truly with the city of Avon Lake. And that is truly with what Public Works and Safety Services and our engineer and our administration has under their umbrella of what they can do. During the discussion at the Safety Committee meeting, it was decided to leave it with the administration. The question was asked, for those of you that were not there, of the police chief, how long would it take for you to look at the traffic patterns? And David helped me, about 180 days, 6 months. He would be looking at the traffic patterns. And in my brain, if a sign goes up there and can stop the issues, why not put it up now? But that's just mine if it opens. Any further discussion, Mr. Cos? Yes, sir.
Yeah, I really, because this came out of the Public Safety and Health Committee, the entire idea with the study, I want to make sure that I get my comments in on this as we're kind of wrapping up this discussion. So this came to us, it's been over a year that the discussions on this started. They contacted Trans Systems, and they did, I think, an excellent job working with the city, doing everything that we asked, and then some. We put together the most comprehensive traffic study that I could ever recall that covered an entire quadrant of the city. It was the biggest traffic study that I can recall, residential, and also the most comprehensive as well, too. And there wasn't much that we left off of the study. We kind of threw everything into it because we wanted to get a really clear picture on it. And the one item that we did come back to, which was where this kind of all started, was with Hanford Boulevard. And it is correct that, it is absolutely correct that if that barrier is open, Hanford Boulevard during the peak hours, I think it's the PM hours, goes to an F rating by ODOT, which relates to the amount of time that cars would have to wait to turn off of that intersection. That's what that F means. And I believe the time was up to 80 seconds per car. I'm sorry, Jen, go ahead.
It was 80 seconds if there was a light there. It's 50 seconds if there's a stop sign.
Okay. So that's what the F means. So when we hear the term failing intersection, that's a strong term. Mm-hmm. But let's realize what failing intersection means. And it means, to your point, the amount of time that the car has to sit there before it can turn out. During the course of this of all these discussions, we looked at alternatives for that intersection. We wanted to see, is a traffic light warranted? The study came back and said, no, a traffic light is not warranted. We even discussed roundabouts. That was a recent discussion item that was included in this study that we added. And we don't need approval from ODOT from this. However, the issue with roundabouts are they take a very long time to put together, years of engineering and studies that have to be submitted to ODOT for funding, and they are extremely expensive. So immediately, maybe someday down the road, that might be an option, but that is not an option today, next year, or in the next few years. So that was not an option. The third option, which is what we talked about at the Public Safety and Health Committee meeting, was one that if we could look at what are the times that are most affected, when does this intersection become the F intersection? It's the PM peak time for the 1 to 2 hours in the PM when it goes from being a non-F intersection to the F rating. It's only in the PM. The AM does have the D listing on it during the peak hours. The other 20-some hours of a day, it does not fall into either one of those categories. So we're talking only about peak AM, peak PM. That's what we're talking about with this intersection. At 1 o'clock in the afternoon, this intersection will operate just like any other intersection coming off of Lear Road, Walker Road, Lake Road, any of those other ones. So when we hear this, it's only those times. So one of the options, how can we reduce or eliminate that F rating during those peak times? And one of the options that was brought forward and discussed at the committee meeting was having a right turn only or no left turn during those hours. And we had a pretty good discussion on that. And I believe that the committee would have passed that out of committee. However, talking with other members of council and also the members of the administration, I don't believe that that would have passed the full body of council. And that's why that motion was not made, because this needs to be resolved at this time, and bringing that forward to have those signs placed in at this time when the remove, to coincide with the removal of the barrier, would not have been supported by the body and the administration. With that being said, I think it's understood that there's going to take some time to evaluate this, and I urged Chief Robinson, and I told the mayor as well too, that I hope that we can revisit this if we see that there are issues there, and it'll ultimately be their decision if this is warranted, if we have to put a sign in there to restrict turns during those times. That would eliminate the issue, but it was unanimous from the police chief and the mayor that they did not want to see those signs go up at the same time that the barrier was removed. They wanted to see how the traffic flowed, and then at a later time, if it was determined, they can make that decision. So that was discussed. A couple of other things with this. We spent a lot of time on this. We put a lot of energy into this. This was not something that we had in, at least I'll speak for myself. This is not something that I had in my mind from day one what was going to happen, whether or not that's believed or not. I'm sure it's not. But that is not the case. So the point then is, what was the point of all of this for residents of Current Village? Is this a safety issue? Because if it's a safety issue, I put forth an alternative that I think is still on the table and we can discuss, to eliminate the wait time. Or is this, we just don't want people driving through our neighborhood? I hope that's not it. And if that is it, then that's too bad. Because if it's a true safety issue, we can still resolve this. We can fix this. We can take that F and turn it into an A, B, or a C. But if it's, we just don't want people going through our neighborhood, that's a non-starter. It's a non-starter. So, I want to thank everybody that participated, those that agreed, those that disagreed. This isn't going away. We have the construction issue. I'm sure we're going to get a lot of complaints on the wait time. We'll talk about this going forward. We'll get this fixed. Thank you.
Thank you. Last round, Ms. Gentry.
One comment about the timing of when we do the analysis. Those homes have not, we've got another 2 years, it seems, before we'll have complete capacity. So we may not need to do anything for some time until those homes are more of those homes are built.
Thank you for pointing that out. Mr. Shamir?
I just want to second what Mr. Koss said. When it comes to the solution of a right turn through a window of time, I think that could potentially resolve a lot of the problems. And I, just as I was at the meeting, I'm supportive of that approach. And I think if the administration takes a look of the condition and then 180 days into this, reverts back and gives this council a report of what actually is taking place, and we can have the residents also involved, I think that may be a good, I guess, middle ground. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else to my left? Mr. Zuber, yes, sir.
We still haven't gotten, how are we going to stop the construction traffic from going down Hanford Boulevard? We still haven't gotten a resolution on that. The mayor hasn't said he's going to stop it. The person here from Pulte says he's not going to stop it. So I can't support this.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Mayor, would you like to respond, sir?
Yeah, I never said I can't do anything. I think what we're going to do is we're going to follow signage, reporting, and enforcement like we do any area that's being built out that has construction traffic. The construction traffic, when you're building homes, it's got to go on some road. So some road is getting all that use that you're referring to, Councilman Shamir. So it might be Port Side, it might be Southport, but somebody is getting all that construction traffic. I don't want it to go down Hanford either. I don't want it to go down Liberty either. I agree with that. But the answer to that has usually been, we will put up signs the contractor, and not just Pulte, but Koff, will be made aware that there'll be no construction traffic there. Typically, what they do, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Filipkowski, is you advise your people, you advise all the subs that are underneath you that there is no construction traffic. We then would obviously have signage placed up, and we would monitor that with our police department to the best of our ability. And again, it's not 100%. I can guarantee you there'll be a construction truck that will go through there. It will happen. There's no doubt about it. But we will do our best to enforce it. We'll do our best to be visible. And that, other than just shutting the road down, that's all that we can do. But I've never said we're not going to do anything about it. That's not the case at all.
And that's what we've done at Danbury. That's what we've done at Legacy Parkway. Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, the mayor actually brought up the same point I was going to bring up, is that they have to come from somewhere and go down a different street. So if it's not Hanford, it's going to be Port West or Port Side or another neighborhood. So how are they going to get into the finish these homes if they can't get in there to finish them? I don't understand why we're only focused on Hanford as far as, and I understand that we can put signs up and not every contractor is going to abide by it, but as the representative said, to his knowledge, no one from his company is doing that, and we just need to keep our eye on it and make sure that they don't do it.
Right.
I don't know what else we can do.
And I'm going to want something to be added to, I would like to have something to be added to our minutes, and that is when the consultant came here and it was timed on the streaming, if people can go to 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 48 seconds, it was at that time, 1 hour, 6 minutes, 48 seconds, that the consultant said, if a left turn is prohibited, your delays are going to go away. And I quote exactly what the consultant said. If left turn prohibited, your delays are going to go away. Okay, everybody said everything that they want to say. On my left, to my right. Mrs. Ross-Marin, the roll, please. On the removal of the barrier on Hanford Boulevard between Current Village and Portside Subdivision, sponsored by Mr. Smith.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
No.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
This is passed. Thank you. Okay, now we're going to go to legislation. Are there any additions or deletions from our agenda? Mr. Arnold?
Yes, I move to remove ordinance number 25-169.
And in discussion?
Yes, there was a public hearing on this on November 10th, 2025. We have to wait 30 days for passage of this ordinance.
So this will be on the agenda then, December the 15th.
December 15th.
Okay, we have a motion before us to remove ordinance 25-169 until December the 15th. Mrs. Ross-Marin, the roll?
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you, this is passed. Now we're going to go to third readings. Ordinance number 25-161. Mrs. Ross-Marin, read by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the creation of a new chapter titled Short-Term Rental Properties within Title VI Miscellaneous Building Regulations in Part 14 of the Codified Ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Arnold?
I move for passage of third reading ordinance number 21-161.
In discussion?
Yes, this is regarding short-term rentals. Over the course of the last 6 months, or probably closer to a year, we've discussed short-term rentals. At this time, this legislation will require short-term rentals to be registered with the city of Avon Lake. It also requires a safety inspection, and there's also a limit per 1,000 feet of a short-term rental. There only could be one short-term rental per 1,000 feet. There were some concerns about saturation within the city. Those are the main topics of this. This will be passed and declared an emergency, so effectively it will be effective today.
Thank you. Anybody else? Mr. Koss?
Yeah, thank you. I want to thank Mr. Arnold for chairing the ad hoc committee that oversaw this, along with Ms. Gentry and I were members of that. Mr. Arnold steered this committee through a year or more going over this. And I think what we have here, we researched a number of different pieces of legislation from communities all around the region. And I think that we were able to pull some of the best parts of it and also rely on feedback, not just from residents that had concerns about this, but also from short-term rental owners as well too contributed to this. So I used the word comprehensive a little bit ago in the last item, but this is again a very comprehensive piece of legislation. And Zach, you did a nice job on this, steering us through. And I think that this is going to be one of those pieces of legislation that other communities are going to be looking at to borrow and copy parts of it. And I've always said that's kind of the ultimate satisfaction is when other communities copy what you've done. So this is good. This is something that the city has thankfully not had any major incidents. We read about these things in other communities, but what you always hear about a lot of these communities, they didn't have anything in place. And then they usually scrambling afterwards to put something in place once complaints start to get out of hand. So we've been very proactive with this. And I think this will help to prevent a lot of the issues that other communities have faced with short-term rentals and also allow people to use their properties for their benefits. And also it makes the community better. We've heard from all different sides of this, and I think this is a really good piece of legislation. So thank you for everyone that helped to put this together. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And Zach, thank you. This was all done out in the public with both sides of discussion, and you did total transparency to get to this point. Any further discussion, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, I'd like the administration to comment on the registration process because I've had people reach out to me, and I don't know if Ted, if you want to talk about when and where they can do that.
Mr. Esborn, Community Development Director.
Sure. Thank you. Yeah, a couple notes about the steps the administration will take if this is passed tonight. So we have the application for the short-term rental registration certificate drafted in OpenGov now, thanks to Rob Rua, our Communications and Technology Director. I think the most important thing, going forward, anybody who uses their property for short-term rental will need a short-term rental registration certificate, which includes the life safety inspection. So this ordinance does not grandfather any properties in that no short-term rental is allowed to continue just because it is operating currently. Existing short-term rental owners need to apply and get their certificate the same way new short-term rental owners do. It reminds me kind of what we did with chicken coops, where coops that were existing still needed to register when the new program came into effect. We're going to work with residents to enforce the program fairly. The ordinance is going to become effective, and we're going to open up this application almost simultaneously. So it's going to take a little bit of time before we can reasonably expect all short-term rental owners to have these certificates. So again, we're going to work with residents, provide updates, and I'm confident that we'll get it moving well.
So just to summarize, anyone who's interested,
Right.
who existing today has a short-term rental,
Correct.
If this should pass tonight, needs to go onto the city website tomorrow.
Correct.
And search for short-term rentals
Yes.
under community development, or simply just search for short-term rentals?
It's under community. It will be under community development.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any further comments, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, not to get in the weeds on this, Ted, but to give you an example, what if someone has a short-term rental and someone buys a house next week, they don't register for it, but they buy a house that's maybe close to within 1,000 feet of the current, how's the administration going to look at that?
So a new rental application that's within 1,000 feet of an existing will not be able to get their certificate. However, what we've discussed is existing owners have to renew their certificate. So it's not permanent. If that existing short-term rental property, fails to renew, then that other applicant, will have the opportunity to get their certificate. The one element of this that is grandfathered in a way is any Avon Lake property that's being used as a short-term rental now. Let's say that within a 1,000-foot stretch, there are 4 existing short-term rental properties currently. Those will be able to get their certificates now. That's sort of the only grandfathered element.
Thank you. Any further questions? Ms. Gentry?
So for those who have property now that is as listed as a short-term rental, are we doing any reach out to, because not everyone spends their Monday nights here or watching us. Good for them. How are they going to find out about this new ordinance?
So we did talk about that reach out, and we're communications and technology is planning on doing some. When we were planning for this, we sort of started with the idea that we would have to do, sort of a more sort of urgent message that, you need to, but, I think as we talked through it, we realized that no, it's more a message of go and apply, we think that works much better, but that outreach is going to happen.
Good question. Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Arnold, anything else? Nope. Okay, we're at the point now, Mrs. Rossmarin, we need to roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed then. Ordinance number 25-167, Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to execute a real estate purchase agreement between the City of Avon Lake and Avon Lake Environmental Redevelopment Group, LLC, for the acquisition of approximately 23 acres of land located in the City of Avon Lake and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Arnold.
I move for passage of ordinance number 25-167 on third reading.
And in discussion.
Yes, obviously, over the course of the last 2 years, we've had many discussions on this. The last 6 weeks, we've had our professionals come in and publicly answer any questions that the administration or city council or even anyone here in the meetings, the public, had concerns or questions. It's for the purchase of 23 acres located on a former power plant. Like I said, it's been almost a year since the initial IDA. It's being purchased through a TIF for $15 million. The schools have to approve the TIF. If you don't have the TIF, then we cannot purchase the property. There'll be a due diligence on that property, environmental due diligence to make sure that it's in good shape. The city, as Todd Davis has said many times, we will have last look at that, and if we're not okay with the environmental aspect of it, we can walk away from the property. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else? Mr. Shamir?
Yes, I want to start with saying that, civic discourse is what makes our country great. And we don't have to agree on things. As long as we are civil, that civility should carry through. That said, I want to begin by acknowledging the work that the administration and our outside counsel have put into this effort. We have not seen eye to eye probably in 90% of the way. My concerns are not about personalities. They are not about opposing redevelopment. They're about structure, timing, and long-term governance. Over the past 6 weeks, we have been urged to pass this PSA quickly. But the council that will actually live with enforce, amend, and oversee this agreement is not the council sitting here tonight. 2 newly elected members will take their seats in just a few weeks, and they will inherit every obligation created by this vote. It is not good governance to bind a future council to a multi-decade commitment before they have had a chance to evaluate it. There are some standards, underwriter criteria used by Moody's, S&P, and Fitch that are missing, okay? There is no taxable development pipeline. There is no revenue model. There is no developer. No minimum service payment agreement. No special assessment. No credit enhancement. No engineering remediation or infrastructure plan. Also, as a city, we don't have an economic development plan. So I would like to know what underwriter is going to actually come in and move with this structure. So the question becomes, what is the rush in signing the PSA? This is not a political opinion. This is a fundamental financial reality. To make a 30-year, $60 million TIF financeable, we would need a master developer agreement, guaranteed taxable development, revenue backstops, independent feasibility studies, engineering plans, and a school district agreement. Today, we have none of those elements in place. Again, what is the rush? We have council that are going to come in, allow them to ask the questions. So, as it sits, my vote tonight is not about opposing development or redevelopment. It's about ensuring that when Avon Lake moves forward, we do so with a structure that is financeable, transparent, and protective of the city's long-term interest. And the incoming council has the opportunity to participate in that decision. So, for that reason, I cannot support approving this PSA tonight. And I motion to postpone this PSA until after the new council has been voted in.
Okay, sir, you have a motion on the floor. So with that motion on the floor, that would be an amendment. Okay, we're going to need to have a vote on the motion to table. And I'm sorry, what did you say? Could you say it again?
To postpone.
To postpone until what date?
Until after the new council is sworn in.
Until after the new council is sworn in, which would be after January the 2nd.
Correct.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Ms. Rossmarin, could you read the roll?
Is there a discussion on the motion?
I'm sorry, is there a discussion, sir?
To me, as I've gone through this and I've stated my position, I am all for this development, but I have not seen the roadmap of where we're going. And I've asked, if you show me the roadmap, if you show the economics, I'm all for it, but I can't see it, and I can't turn this over to someone else with the good faith of something may happen. Now, I would like to elaborate that a $60 million TIF, which would be the foundation of this purchase agreement, would require...
Sir, I'm sorry, but the motion on the floor is only to postpone.
Yes.
The discussion needs to go on to why it is you want to postpone, and it's not on the other topics, which you have very eloquently described.
Yes.
You need to stick to the motion to postpone.
I would like to allow the new council the opportunity to review and commit to this agreement.
Thank you, sir. Is there any further discussion? Mr. Cos?
Yeah, thank you. I can appreciate the motion being put forward. I'm going to be voting no on this motion, and it has nothing to do with the quality of candidates now elected, representatives that are going to be coming in and joining us in January. It's more about the 2 members of council that are going to be leaving us in by January the 1st. Mr. Arnold in particular has been the chair of the Economic Development Committee for a number of years since this program began, this whole thing started. He has done the work on this. He has worked with our experts that are here. He has worked with the council. He has worked with the community and the administration to put this document before us. Mr. Zuber as well, too, with the Finance Committee, and he's been heavily involved in this for a very long time. These men have really worked extremely hard on this, and they know this thing. They know this thing in and out. As has been said a number of times, this is the beginning of this. There will be a lot of votes still to come. There will be a lot more items still to talk about. This is site control is a term that we've heard a number of times on why this needs to be passed. And there will be a lot of opportunity for our new members of council to be heavily, heavily involved in this process, and also to get out of this agreement at some point in the future if needed. But the two gentlemen, that is the reason that I'm going to vote no on this, is because the two gentlemen that specifically Mr. Arnold, the sponsor of it, have been a part of this process from the very beginning, and they've earned the right to vote on this. And they've done the work. They've done the hard work on this. So I will be voting no on this.
Anyone else at this end? Ms. Gentry?
So I know that my name was brought up several times tonight regarding the this agreement, and my concern has been and will always remain the fact that this piece of property without the actual submerged land lease, I have a hard time with that, and I understand, Mr. Davis, why you had have it split out, and that it's a very complicated situation. So, and I appreciate that. I'm also very concerned about the maintenance of the property, and I know Mr. Zimnick was here and we've had discussions, but that's not nailed down either. So I do have grave reservations about this project. I think the project itself is a great thing for Avon Lake, and don't misunderstand my concerns. I still don't know what the status of the negotiations for the TIF is. So what are we really voting on? Because we don't really have an agreement without a TIF. We've stated that several times. So I don't know what the status is of the TIF itself. And the other concern that I have is that, to Mr. Shamir's point, we also don't have an economic development plan. And I know that we're working towards that. So we do have time. I understand there's a lot of time ahead of us. So I'm expressing concerns about moving forward with this when there's so many open topics.
Thank you. Anyone to my left? Any comments, gentlemen? Mr. Arnold, go ahead.
This is on his motion.
This is on his motion.
Okay.
His motion, again, is to postpone until after January the 2nd.
I appreciate what you're saying, Rob, on this. I've been doing this for 8 years. I was in at the very beginning of it. I got elected my first term. I think there were 7 or 8 people, and I worked my tail off to get elected. And then I ran unopposed on my second one, much like Mr. Zuber did as well. I'm not going anywhere in Avon Lake. I'll live at the same house. So if this thing blows up and doesn't work out for any reason, although we have many, many outs that we can, this is just the beginning of the process here. So to what David said, I deserve to vote on this. I mean, I'm not so sure we'd have 2 new elected officials what if I ran for re-election again? I'm terming myself out because I always believed that in my mind, I wanted to run for 2 terms, and that was it. I'm done. And I've said that to many people at the beginning of my being elected. Not to make this about me, but to me, that's why I deserve to vote on this. So thank you.
Thank you. Here's where I'm at on it. This is a motion to postpone until after January the 2nd. Why I think that we need to go forward with this, and I'm not in favor of this motion to postpone, has to do with something that Mr. Shamir has said over and over and over again with the site control. and that is that we have to go through a phase 1 and a phase 2. The sooner that we have this, the sooner we can get a phase 1 and a phase 2 done so we know what we're doing. Also, we have a grant that we're applying for, and that grant has goalposts along the way that we need to meet. So in my mind, we're not rushing this. How many years, Mr. Arnold, did you say we've been doing this for 3 years, 4 years? To get to the point where we're at right now?
I think it's almost 5.
Almost 5 years. And here we are to take site control so that we can begin to have the environmental go forward with a phase 1 and a phase 2 so we know where we are. And we've been bringing our 2 new council-elect along the way. We've given them the opportunity to meet with the consultants to ask all the questions that they can ask. We've been supplying them with all the information that we have, so it's not as though they're walking blindly into this. Mrs. Ross-Marin, I think we're at the point where we need to have a roll on the motion to postpone.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
No.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss?
No.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
No.
Mr. Zuber?
No.
Mr. Arnold?
No.
Okay, the motion has failed. So now we're back at the original motion for ordinance number 25-167 as sponsored by Mr. Arnold. Any further discussion on this particular one? Mr. Koss, sir?
Yeah, thank you. Member of the audience just called me a name. Okay. All right, so back to this. So a couple of things on this that I wanted to ask the mayor on. This is with an assumption that this item is going to pass. I'd like to ask the mayor what he sees as the next steps after this from the administrative side, and then I have a follow-up after that. Where do we go from here, Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Mayor?
Yeah, I'd like to defer to our professionals, but I will say that once it's passed, as Council President Fenderbosh indicated, once it's passed, we are in the process of creating a grant application, which is due December 5th. So the first order of business will be, if this passes, to get that grant application in on time so we can seek $300,000 for part of the environmental assessment work.
Site control.
Yes. So we can't do, and I have a whole thing I could read here, but we can't do much of anything until we have site control. And this grant is one of the reasons that we're moving forward on this. That goes to not only this grant, but any future grants that we will pursue. Also, the work that needs to be done, both environmentally and planning, we'll need a park planner to move forward.
Mm-hmm.
Without a park planner, we're going to be a little bit stuck. So in January, the idea is to, some point in January, to get out an RFQ for park planners so that process can start to move forward. Once we have a park planner, we have an idea of what we want to do. That will dictate grading, that will dictate where things are going to go in the park. It'll help Mr. Zimnick as we walk through the ideas. It'll help the public see what potentially this amazing park could look like and get their input into it. None of that can happen until we get this passed. So those are the next immediate steps. And as everybody has indicated, this is just one step in the process. And it's an important step to keep everything else moving. So, I'll have something to say other than that, but I just want to answer your initial questions. Unless our professionals have something to add to that, I'd be happy if the council so wishes to add to that.
Mr. Koss, is there something else that you would like to have our consultants
if I can just finish out my line of questioning, and
Okay.
then I'll be
Go right
done
ahead,
here.
sir.
So thank you, Mr. Mayor, on that. With regards to the park plan and the RFQ that would go with that, I know you've indicated before that it is your intention to have Mr. Zimnick and the Lorraine County Metro Parks be a part of that process.
Absolutely.
I think that's very important. This is what they do. I think that we heard from Mr. Zimnick's comments today, what an opportunity this is and how excited that he is to be a part of this process. It's a little bit early, and I know you have a board and you have other issues that would still need to have a review over a lot of this, but I could tell that this would be a project that the Lorraine County Metro Parks would love to partner with the city of Avon Lake with. And as Mr. Zimnick said, and I wrote it down, until we gain site control, we are unable to tap into, and I'm paraphrasing this, millions and millions of dollars of funds that we will never get the opportunity to have unless there's site control. So this is coming from the guy that does this for a living. And when Mr. Zimnick talks about this, he's done this in the county with other projects before. He's one of the experts that we rely on. Also, and I'm going to be voting yes on this, I want to mention, since I said experts, we've got our experts here in the audience that have been here almost weekly now. And I want to thank you, gentlemen, because this is a lot of time that you guys have spent to be in here, to talk about sometimes the same items over and over. But I think it's really good that the public hears this. You guys have done this not just, for your profession, but you've done it in the region. So this isn't like we're calling people in from all over the country that may be not familiar with Ohio, Northeast Ohio, whatever it is. These are experts, top of their field, top of their profession, that have done projects on this scale in the region. And I think that is a point that has to be made over and over. And, every time I have a question or a concern, I listen to what our experts say. And that's why we hired them in. And they're the best at what they do. And they have guided the city very well, I believe. I think that they are where they are in the profession for a reason. And I think we're very lucky to have them. So they're going to be a very important part of this process as we go forward. And I'll close by mentioning one last thing that I mentioned last week and in previous weeks, and Mr. Shamir said it as well too. I think when we talk about the environmental part that's going to really be looked at after this, I'll state it again, that I really think that Mr. Gross and Mr. Shamir should walk that property together and work more closely together. And I know ALERG is here as well too, so with your cooperation, gentlemen, as well, get these guys together, because this is going to pass, I believe, tonight. And I think it's very important that we put this part of it behind us and figure out now, how are we going to go forward on the environmental? How are we going to go forward on the park design and all of that? And I think that we may not agree on every aspect of it, but I think we all need to be working together to get that way. And I think that the environmental part with Mr. Shamir and Mr. Gross, I think, is an excellent way to go to help build that total team moving forward on this project. So I'm looking forward to what the new year has. Thank you.
Very good. Anybody else? Okay, Mr. Smith, yes.
Yeah, thank you. I'm going to be relatively short. Tony Tomnick said he was a resident for 75 years. I'm only at 63 years. So I remember CEI plant since I was a child. I remember having the ash fall on a car, or that we were outside in a convertible. This is a brownfield that is being remediated for the good of Avon Lake. It's going to cost money to do it. It needs to be done right. We have hired experts, and in my practice, I rely on experts all the time. And I must say that while I think I'm pretty smart when it comes to things, in this situation, I have to rely on our experts that we've hired for the brownfield. They have done their absolute best to put together a program that will see to the future of Avon Lake and this brownfield site that is being remediated. And Mr. Gross is an integral part of this in the things that he is going to do. Therefore, I will be supporting this. I do have to rely on my experts. I would say one thing, and that is that the zoning overlay zoning that's going to be on this property needs to be addressed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Totally agree with you. Totally agree with you. Mr. Shamir, and then we're going to ask for a vote. Okay, go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry. Was your hand up, Ms.
Yeah,
Gentry?
it was as well. Mr. Shamir, you can go
Sure.
first.
We heard from Mr. Zimnick, and there's been reference. May I ask Mr. Zimnick a few questions? Is that a possibility?
Absolutely. Come on up, Mr. Zimnick, because this is very important that we get through this process. And I know that he's been through this before.
So, and again, Mr. Zimnick, I just want to ask a few questions. So,
Sure.
Conceptually, there's been discussion of you guys taking over the eastern sector of the park, or maybe the whole park. Now, let me ask a question on access. And let me first ask a question. The concept of daylighting of Powdermaker Creek, is that something that is still in the works? Or would that be a potential? Is that something that you guys would look at?
It certainly is a potential. It would be a goal. I think there's, I think, and many other people think there's a great value to the daylighting of Powdermaker Creek. I think we're very early in the process as to what that would entail. As the weeks and actually years have rolled on, I think we're getting into some depth issues. You know, there's like layers of the Powdermaker Creek. So I don't want to be evasive. I think, again, it's certainly a worthy goal to pursue. When we've bandied that about with ODNR and OEPA, they've been supportive of it. They said, absolutely, it'd be a great idea. But again, the logistics of it, the engineering of it, you know, working with Verdantis, Mr. Gross, we certainly want to do it.
So if I may follow up, would you envisage residents being able to walk along Powdermaker Creek to the lake?
Yes,
Okay.
I think that's again, it would be the goal of why we would do. It wouldn't be the exclusive reason.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ecological, environmental reasons to do it, from stormwater management to, you know, we can go on and on and on. There's great use for it, great need for it. I don't say need, but opportunity to do so.
Now, would you guys also operate and maintain the engineering components of whatever environmental remediation that goes in, or would that be with someone else? The cap, the engineered cap, if there's a cap there, if there are requirements, would that be managed by the metro parks, or would that be managed by the city?
Well, again, as I said, we haven't gotten down the nitty gritty as to who's going to do what. I would say if we're going to take the lead on that, which is some discussions we've had from the previous administration to the current administration, yeah, I think we would take the lead on that, working with folks like Mr. Gross, Verdantis, or other nationally renowned, or US EPA and the OEPA. Sure.
Thank you.
All right.
Ms. Gentry?
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I want to make it crystal clear. I have no doubt that we have the best experts in to deal with this particular situation, and I appreciate all that ALERC has done. So I just wanted to make that clear that I'm not trying in voting to try and delay this for a little bit was just to buy some time to get some of these questions answered. So, but it is not meant as a reflection on either party. So just wanted to
Thank
get
you.
that out.
Anybody else at this point? Mr. Mayor, yes, sir.
Yes, thank you. I just want to kind of wrap some of this up and go through a couple things. The city was advised in July 2020 the Avon Lake power plant would be closing. Again, the city had no role in the power plant closing, and the city did not own the power plant. Char closed on the purchase of the industrially zoned property in March of 22, began demolition remediation at that time, starting with asbestos abatement. Demolition has been substantially completed, and remediation will be ongoing as the environmental assessment continues. During conversations and meeting, including visioning sessions held by Gensler, Char's planning and architectural firm, during 21 and 22, became very clear that the desire was for redevelopment of the property to include public access to the lake. Additionally, a review of the public comments from our 2019 comprehensive land use plan clearly showed a desire for more public access to our greatest asset, Lake Erie. Conversations the council and the administration have had with residents further show support for public access. Options to obtain site control of the lakefront property while still allowing for some development of the 43 plus acres of the power plant property were reviewed with our professionals. We also wanted to make a plan that would not put the city at risk of any potential environmental issues and did not require the use of the city's general fund. We have worked collaboratively with the Lorain County Metro Parks, Lorain County to position ourselves where environmentally remediated land meeting Ohio EPA standards could be purchased in a low-risk, financially prudent manner. To get to this point, we have engaged our team of experts, which you've heard a lot about. Mr. Todd Davis, an expert in brownfield development, Steve Gross from Verdantis, a leading environmental services company, and the firm of Burns, Ochner, and Greenberger for the planning and zoning services. Our experts have been working directly with the city, with CHARA, and the Ohio EPA to reach the goal of providing our city and the region 23 new acres of new lakefront park. These representatives are here today to answer any further questions you may have. The purchase agreement in front of council tonight for third reading is a culmination of no less than 1 year work. We have heard extensively from our professionals and answered all the questions that have been raised. Approval of this ordinance is the next step in the process to take an old coal-fired power plant from the shores of Lake Erie and create a publicly accessible park with additional economic development. Passage will also allow for the application of grants and to contract a park planner, as I stated earlier. I urge passage of this ordinance to continue to move our community forward. With this and a very rare and unique opportunity we have been blessed with. Thank you.
Thank you. Council President is going to have a quick summary, and my summary is that we do not have junior consultants. We have experienced senior consultants that actually wrote the book on how to do this. They've done it many, many times, not just acquisition of property, not just reclamation of property, but having an end result that people can celebrate and have a new lifestyle with. Taking what wasn't a lifestyle that was healthy and turning it into something that was. I have 100% confidence in our consultants. And if they're telling us that this is the way to go forward, who am I to question them? Therefore, I'm going to turn over to Mrs. Rossmarin for a roll call.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
No.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Okay, now we're going to go on to ordinance number 25-174. Mrs. Rossmarin, can you read by title only?
An ordinance enacting a code of ordinances for the city of Avon Lake, Ohio, revising, amending, restating, codifying, and compiling certain existing general ordinances of the city of Avon Lake, Ohio, dealing with subjects embraced in such code of ordinances and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. I move for passage of ordinance number 25-174. And in discussion, here it is. This is the book that Mrs. Rossmarin and our legal department have gone through along with American Legal. And it is at that point in time where we must approve it so that it can go into existence. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. We're now at second readings. Ordinance number 25-175R. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance amending codified ordinance section 208.01 entitled Fee Schedule.
Mr. Zuber.
I move the second reading of ordinance 25-175R.
In discussion, sir?
This came out of the Finance Committee. This is the updating and starting to charge for copies and recordings from cameras from the police department. We've been discussing that since they passed a law in Columbus for us to be able to charge for that. The other is the increasing the fees in 26 and 27 for the pool to take us, although we're still going to be probably the lowest in the area, but we need to recoup some of the money, and that's mainly due to the wages in trying to keep our lifeguards here with us here in Avon Lake, and that's the main reason for the increase.
And then the change at the very bottom of it. It's eliminating the green team, which is not in use. Okay, and your intention is to have 3 readings, right, sir?
Yes.
Very good. Any questions from anyone? Any comments? Seeing none, we're going to move on then. Thank you. To ordinance number 25-177, Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance amending codified ordinance chapter 252 entitled Purchasing Procedures.
Mr. Zuber.
I move for the suspension of the council rule requiring 3 readings.
Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. It's passed. Mr. Zuber,
I move for passage of ordinance number 25-177.
in discussion, sir.
We've had this revised purchasing procedures, I think we've been talking about it for almost 2 years now. The main change is on the bidding procedure. What we're doing is, instead of bidding anything worth $50,000 or more, the state allows us to go out to get quotes between or up to that amount, up to $77,000. But we still are going to have some council oversight so that if there is a purchase that needs to be made between $50,000 and $77,000, there will be a council action taken either within a committee, a collective committee meeting, or at a regular council meeting, just so council still has some oversight. And this again is to move the things forward and so we can get things done a little bit quicker, especially with the Public Works Department.
Thank you. Any further discussion from anyone? Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll, please.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Mrs. Rossmarin, please read by title only, ordinance number 25-178.
An ordinance establishing a lodging excise tax on hotels and short-term rentals within the city of Avon Lake, providing for tax collection and remittance by lodging platforms and operators, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. This is the second reading. The intent is to go 3 readings. According to Ohio Revised Code Sections 5739.08 and 5739.091, they authorize municipalities to levy an excise tax on transactions by which lodging is furnished to transient guests, which means under 30 days you would be staying. And it would require the lodging platforms to collect and remit the lodging excise tax on behalf of operators to the city. They usually do this on a monthly basis to cities and to counties on a quarterly basis. 88 different entities already perform this particular task within the state of Ohio. And the revenue use, 50% of it would go toward tourism, recreation, and visitor-related services, and the remaining 50% would go into the general municipal fund. Any further comments? Okay, we'll have this one on next week or 2 weeks. And we will go on to resolution number 25-182. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
A resolution authorizing the city of Avon Lake to apply for and administer a state of Ohio brownfield remediation program assessment grant for the former NRG power plant property and declaring an emergency.
I move for suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings. Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. That has passed. I move for passage of resolution number 25-182. And in discussion, this is the Ohio Brownfield Assessment Grant that we've been talking about. The deadline is coming up at the first week of December, and we are applying for an assessment of $300,000. Any further discussion? Seeing none, Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Ordinance number 25-184. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into a purchase agreement with the Avon Lake City School District for the acquisition of the former Erie View School property located at 32630 Electric Boulevard, Avon Lake, Ohio, and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. This is simply the second reading. The intent is to go for 3 readings. And the property that's been discussed many times is the former Erie View School location that is approximately 9.5 acres. And the building and the acreage would be purchased through a special fund that is collected from developers at the final phase, just like they pay for a grading fund. They pay for the tree fund. They put money into this recreation fund. The monies have collected, and we are offering the school, we've agreed to it, $500,000 with the first payment occurring July 1st, 2027, in the form of $100,000 payments, one at a time. I see your hand, Ms. Gentry. This is a purchase agreement before us, and I'm going to open it up to questions. Ms. Gentry, your hand was up first.
Yeah, so I recently saw the I think it was an inspection report, the report of the status of the building, and it seems as though, and we all knew there was quite a bit of work that needs to be done to that building. I was wondering how that repair work is going to be funded. Will that be funded out of that same fund, or do we have to figure out somewhere in the budget that money will come?
I'm going to answer the first part, and then I'm going to refer it to Mr. Mayor. The fund is for acquisition only, and that is by ordinance and by law. I'm going to turn over to the mayor as to the plan.
Sure, great question. So John Liskovic and I and Aaron Fatch are going to be walking the building with our assessment report, analyzing what we need to do to take the step where our recreation department can move into there and our senior center can move into there. And in order to do that, we have to have the plan in place to determine how far we want to go. We see this as a phased approach. So what is that first phase? So whatever we determine that amount to be, whether it's O&M or it's capital costs, we then would have to come back through finance department with an appropriation amount. And obviously, we didn't budget it this year. There's no room in the budget this year for that. We hope things go well. And so we would then have a dollar amount that we would approach council and say, here's how much we need to move into the building. Here's what we're going to need in 6 months. Here's what we might need next year as far as capital costs to continue that operation and get it moving. So it's still something that we're going to be working out. Hopefully, we're going to have some answers for you before the next reading.
That was because
Yeah.
the next reading is that the next reading is our vote. So
Yes.
it would be very helpful to have that.
Correct.
Yeah, right. So if I could add something, but I thought was very interesting in the report, and I really appreciate the way that the consultant wrote the report, and that was, Mr. Mayor, they said, okay, here's what you have to do first, second, and third, but you need to do this in order to preserve it so you don't get to this particular level. And I thought that was very helpful. It's going to help you in budgeting along with Mr. Liskovic.
They were very thorough in their
Very
assessment.
thorough. It's probably one of the best I've seen, to be frank with you. Anybody else? Okay, then we're going to move along then. Where are we here? Okay, the next one is going to be ordinance number 25-187. Mrs. Rossmarin, I'm going to read by title only.
An ordinance approving the improvement plan for Harbor Crest Townhouse Subdivision Number 1 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I move for the suspension of the council rules requiring 3 readings.
Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Thank you, it is passed. Mr. Smith.
I move for the passage of ordinance number 25-187.
In discussion, sir.
We've had discussions relative to this. Everything that was needed to be done by the engineer has been done. So that's all I have to say.
Excellent. Anybody else? Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll, please.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only, 25-188.
An ordinance approving the improvement plan for Harbor Crest Townhouse Subdivision Number 2 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I move for the suspension of the council rule requiring 3 readings.
Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
This is the second part of the Harbor Crest Townhouse subdivision, which was also approved by Planning Commission.
And do you have a motion, sir?
I move for passage.
Thank you. Any further discussion by anyone? Okay, Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. We're down to first readings. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only, ordinance number 25-189.
An ordinance amending codified chapter 278, Communications and Technology Commission.
Mr. Shamir?
Nothing to discuss. It's just amending the structure of the ordinance and the number of people that will be serving. So it's just a modification to the existing, based on the recommendations of
The recommendations from the ad hoc committee?
Yes.
Right, so you're listing about the ex officio members.
Yes.
That you're also listing the terms of the residential members.
Yes.
Okay. And let's see if there's anything else here. Okay.
And effectively, it's the removal of members that do not show up to.
Right, that's part of the ad
Yeah,
hoc.
exactly.
Right, so to make a functioning committee,
Exactly.
a board and commission. Very good. Any further discussion on this one?
No.
Okay, we're going to move on then. Thank you, sir. We're going to now go to ordinance number 25-190. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance amending codified chapter 284, Environmental Affairs Advisory Board.
Mr. Shamir.
This is just like the previous, and the next one will be the same.
Okay, so this is again making it so it's in compliance with the ad hoc. So I have a question for you on 284.02 membership term, compensation and removal. Okay, if you turn the page, you go over to number 2. And I believe it's, if it says 4 other members of the, you're going to have 8, right? So
Yes.
4 would be voted in from council, and the other 4 would be from the mayor. If you wanted to, you could have 5 in from council and 3 in from mayor, but it doesn't reflect what the ad hoc commission, ad hoc committee requested. What would you like to do, sir?
With respect to that, the EAB is an advisory board to the council. And the administration has a member on there. That's the Public Works Director. So,
He's ex officio, though. He doesn't vote.
exactly. So it is a advisory to council, and the purpose of this organization, as it was set, it was to review and advise back to council, and then from there would disseminate to the rest of the organization
But
administration.
so is the Parks and Recreation Commission. They're advisory. The Tree Commission is advisory. Everything we have is an advisory, so I'm not seeing what the difference is, sir. Could you help me understand?
Okay, so effectively, what EAB was set up, from what I understand of reading all the previous documentation, was after what happened with BF Goodrich. And it was supposed to evaluate and form a opinion independently of any influence, to come back to council and present their findings. So that independence is what this would allow for.
Thank you. Any further discussion from council? I'm just trying to articulate what the ad hoc committee came up with. No further discussion? Okay, so it will be left as is. And we will move on then to the next one. And the next one is ordinance number 25-191. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance amending codified chapter 286, Parks and Recreation Commission.
Mr. Shamir.
Same thing again. This is as the initial with the modifications as per recommended by the ad hoc committee.
Okay, so 3 members will be
yes.
appointed by the mayor, 2 members appointed by council, and along with there's gonna be a non-voting ex officio member.
Exactly.
Okay, and then is there an area here for removal? Yes, so they've added that, so it's gone right with the ad hoc Committee. Any further discussion from anyone?
And there is just a caveat that Board of Education is a part of this program as well. Thank
As
you.
an ex officio member?
As an ex officio.
Sir? Voting or non-voting? Because ex
Non-voting.
officio, okay. So the public understands ex officio means simply a member. So you got to call it out if it's a non-voting or a voting member. Thank you. Okay, anybody else? Okay, on this one, we're going to go on to ordinance number 25-192. Mrs. Rossman, read by title only.
An ordinance setting the salary for Steve Peter as acting fire chief and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Smith.
Thank you. I move for the suspension of the rule requiring 3 readings.
Mrs. Rossman, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Mr. Smith.
Nothing further than as was discussed in my HR report. Thank you.
Okay, any further discussion from anyone? Seeing none, we're going to move on to the roll. Mrs. Rossmarin?
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Koss.
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. We're now going to go to ordinance number 25-193. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance to make appropriations for the city of Avon Lake for fiscal year 2026 and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Zuber.
I move the first reading of ordinance number 25-193.
In discussion, sir.
This is the budget for next year for the city. We've had 3 budget meetings with the city council. I know that the mayor started this process probably, maybe 6 months ago, I think, probably in moving and trying to move it forward. I think that as we've all had discussion about a need to increase the city revenues, and we've had some discussion with this council, but it was decided at the last finance committee to move that on to next year. But there really is no monies for capital improvements except what we're carrying over for this year. So hopefully the next council can move forward on trying to get some revenue increases for us here at the city.
I think it's important to let everyone know that Mr. Mayor had requested at least a 7% reduction across the board per each department. Is that correct, Mr. Mayor?
That's correct.
Okay. Any further discussion from anyone? Okay, we will see this again. Thank you, sir. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only, ordinance number 25-194.
An ordinance adopting a job description for the position of part-time assistant deputy clerk and establishing the qualifications and duties for said position.
Mr. Smith?
Yeah, this is the first reading of ordinance number 25-194. It is what it says it is, and that is to create a position and setting forth a job description for the assistant deputy clerk.
Any further discussion from anyone? Okay, we're going to go on to the next one. Ordinance number 25-195. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance amending codified ordinance section 1065.11, green team certification.
Thank you. I'm the sponsor of this. This is the first reading. We're asking for it to be repealed. This is not being utilized. Any further discussion? Okay, seeing none, we'll go on to ordinance number 25-196. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance amending codified chapter 272, Avon Lake Historical Preservation Commission.
Thank you. This is the first reading, and again, we're going by the recommendations coming out of the ad hoc committee, and you'll see here that what in red what they have added to their descriptions, along with if someone isn't participating, they will be asked to be replaced. Any further discussion? Okay, Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only, ordinance number 25-197.
An ordinance amending codified ordinance chapter 288, Tree Commission.
Thank you. Again, this is going with the ad hoc committee, changing the ordinances so that 2 of the members who were previous to 2 years would be appointed by council. The other ones would be by the mayor, and the Ex officio member would be non-voting, would be the elected individual there. And also, they have already had their rules and regulations that if someone doesn't participate, that they would be replaced. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, we'll go on then to ordinance number 25-198. Mrs. Rossmarin, do you want to read by title only?
An ordinance amending codified ordinance section 220.05, stand-in committees.
Thank you. This is going to go through 3 readings. We are reorganizing our standing committees so that boards and commissions will feed up to the standing committees. They're going to be aligned with departments. So when purchase orders are going to be fulfilled and requested, it will be requested not by the council member, but by the board and commission to the department. The department will have, if there's a budget, it'll be in their operating fund. And that way the department can have oversight financially with what is being spent. And it's going to provide the state auditor with a format that they are in agreement with. The other changes that are here have to do with changing some of the committees around. For example, the Communications Technologies Department, the Building and Utilities Committee is going to be adding to their responsibilities, the Communications and Technology Department. And I'm reading this very rapidly here. And one member of the Building Utilities Committee shall serve as an ex officio, non-voting member of the commission. We're going to go down to Economic Development Committee. The Economic Development Committee is also going to be reviewing the Recreation Department's goals and objectives, along with recreational programming. They're also going to be involved with the arts and the humanities programming, and they're going to oversee and advise all matters to public transportation. Not the van, but public transportation. We have a battery that needs to be replaced here. Okay. Economic development is also going to be involved with, is it shoreline protection and preservation?
Yes.
Sir? And conservation of Lake Erie, recycling, yard waste, waste collection, contract leaf humus, and branch pickup. And then the environmental committee is going to be involved with brownfields. I'm sorry, I read that wrong. The environmental committee is going to be involved with the shoreline protection, the preservation, conservation of Lake Erie, recycling, yard waste, waste collection, contract leaf humus, branch pickup, and wood chips, composting, inventory of brownfields, along with their studies. The ex officio member of the committee will serve on the Environmental Affairs Advisory Board. And then we go down to the Finance Committee. And the Finance Committee quarterly will add to their task a review and compare the expenditures against the established budget to identify and analyze possible fiscal trends that may affect the city's financial position. We're going to go down to Public Safety and Health. And under Public Safety and Health, it's going to be expanding upon what the police and the health department and the fire departments, how they participate. It's going to be reviewing the goals and objectives of those departments. The Public Safety and Health Committee will organize National Incident Management System, NIMS training for all elected officials. This is going to work with what the mayor is doing with all of his department heads. And then on a yearly basis, there will be an exercise involving the Lorain County Emergency Management Agency, who will review and critique our exercise, provide us with feedback. We go to Public Service Committee. It talks about all of the ordinances that affect our infrastructure and our estates and the parks and the public buildings. Talks about the maintenance of the infrastructure along with the urban forestry. So council's done a really good job of reviewing these committees and hopefully making them more usable and providing the city with what it needs to move forward. Any comments? Okay, we will go on then to ordinance number 25-199. Mrs. Rossmarin, read by title only.
An ordinance authorizing the mayor to enter into an agreement for quick response team between Alcohol and Drug Addiction Services Board of Lorain County, the city of Avon Lake, and Let's Get Real, and declaring an emergency.
Mr. Cos.
Thank you. I move to suspend the council rule requiring 3 readings.
Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Cos.
Thank you. I move for passage of ordinance number 25-199.
In discussion, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. This is the, similar to the one that we had passed last year, the MOU. This one will remain in effect at June the 30th, 2026. And what this does is partners the city of Avon Lake, specifically our Avon Lake Police Department, with the quick response team of the Mental Health, Addiction, and Recovery Services Board of Lorain County to address the opioid and opioid-related overdose encounters with the goal to engage overdose survivors to access treatment within 30 days of an overdose and their family members to get them into treatment.
Thank
And
you.
as I mentioned, this passed 3-0 out of the committee.
Thank you. Any further discussion by anybody? Mrs. Rossmarin, the roll.
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you. This is passed. Any miscellaneous business and announcements by anyone on any topic? The only one that I want to mention is that at Cleveland Magazine, Why Businesses Are Choosing Avon Lake is an excellent article from the Community Development Department, and I recommend everybody pull it up and take a look at it. Thank you. At this point in time, we have a need for an executive session. Mr. Cos.
Thank you. I move that in compliance with ORC Section 121.22G3, council will adjourn to executive session to discuss imminent court action.
Thank you.
I'm gonna need,
Yes,
finance
Miss-
director,
Keep you going, turn.
need the finance director to stay for this, and council.
What about council elect?
No, you can't, they're not named, they're not defendants.
Okay, we can't have a council elect. Okay, we need to have a motion.
Have a
We
good
have
night.
motion.
Do,
We need to have Mrs. Rossmarin vote.
Dave already had the
And a
motion.
vote. Okay.
Need a roll call.
Need a roll call?
Mrs. Fenderbosh?
Yes.
Ms. Gentry?
Yes.
Mr. Cos?
Yes.
Mr. Shamir?
Yes.
Mr. Smith?
Yes.
Mr. Zuber?
Yes.
Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Thank you, this is passed. So we're not going to have any votes. We will be reconvening back into an open session just to adjourn. So we'll see you next week. Thank you.